It appears we are live.
Are we?
It appears that way. Let's make sure that everyone can hear us okay. Yesterday during our test run, we had some audio issues. Let us know in the comments if you can hear us okay. Maybe I should read the comments on the iPad and then look things up on the phone.
It's a whole new system,
Yeah,
a whole
this
new
is
world.
like I'm getting a little nervous here. It's like we got to do a show, but we don't have any crew at all, and we're using technology.
It can't possibly be worse than what the late night people are doing.
That's true. I feel like that stuff's unwatchable. Okay, so I'm going to click on our own show
How
here.
many people out there are going to be upset that this live streaming of the coronavirus journals is going to ruin their routine? Because it feels like these come out like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in Europe might be waking up to these.
I mean, you can still watch it whenever you normally watch it.
I guess
You
that's
just
true.
can't like talk trash to us in the comments.
If anything, it's going to be more relevant because if you're watching live, it's going to be things that happen right now versus like
Absolutely.
12 hours later when you wake up.
All right, so why don't you pull this up, the comments on your iPad?
I mean, I have them here. But
Okay.
I will need to.
Like, we need one for comments, one for news to pull up.
Now that we don't get to edit all of this, people get to see me searching for my.
Exactly.
news
Like, there's a lot of
stories.
stuff that we cut out because we're
able to.
yeah. So like, I might say, hey, let me look up this article that I saw earlier and like check on the numbers real quick, and then we start talking about it. But now we have to do it live. So let me first start off by saying, for everybody who follows us because Fstoppers is a photography channel and has not understood why we're doing all these coronavirus videos, basically our whole idea was that we're stuck inside, we're not allowed to go out, we're not allowed to do anything. We're here in Puerto Rico, it's particularly locked down. And we thought we were living in a historic time where we were going to want to look back and know what people are saying and what we were thinking 10, 20, 30 years from now. And so as long as we're really not allowed to do much, let's get some work done. Let's kind of make this daily video.
This is work.
I mean, I feel like this is kind of the most work we've done in years.
For sure. And I want to make it very clear because I've seen this come up in the comments before. This is more of a journal entry or a way for us to like make a diary and look back on. By no means is this advice. By no means is everything we're saying accurate in any way. A lot of things, you know, we're hearing a news story for the first time and then we really only digest it days later when we have more time to think about it, which is how everyone accepts the news, right? You hear about it and then you have to think through it and stuff. So I think maybe some people feel like we are trying to give advice and it's biased and it's political and it's romantic and all this stuff.
Someone commented today on our last virus journal, like, you guys are exploiting the virus to make money. Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And I actually wanted to have the numbers worked out before we went live, and then I forgot. But basically, I wanted to figure out how much money we've made on this. And you can do the math, like you guys out there. You make approximately $1,000 per 1 million views. Each one of our videos might be averaging around 15,000 views, and we've made 35 videos. So 35 times 15.
So 153, it's 450,000 views.
450,000 views.
Is that math quick? Like, it's quick math right there.
So we've made, is that $500?
It's about $500,000, so that's about $500.
$500, and we've been working approximately 6 hours a day, 7 days a week to make these videos for the last 35 days. So.
Don't forget the money we're giving away through the Patreon.
Yeah, that's
true. Because we've made like $200 there that we will donate once this is all over.
That's true too. Now, guys, we're going to get to comments in a second. We're not doing this to make money, but as you can tell, people are commenting so much, it's very difficult to like keep a train of thought and read all the garbage you guys are writing and everything.
People say I look pretty dope.
You look
Since
dopey.
we're filming at like 8 o'clock, which is much later than normal. Normally we film these at 4. I thought I would kind of do like a night attire.
Okay.
Like I'm ready for bed. Because I go to bed with a sleeping cap.
A nightcap.
A nightcap, yeah. Looks like you got your nightcap over there.
Yeah, I do. Basically, if the super chat thing works, I don't even know how this works, but somebody was trying to explain it to me. If you click on that and pay like $1, I think your comment is saved, and we will do everything we possibly can to answer everyone's questions. So go to Super Chat, but like there's so much going on right now, I can't even look at that.
And that's live, or that's like throughout, like once this is published, we'll go back and
No, when it's live. We got to go while it's live. So let's quickly talk numbers, and then we can get to some coronavirus news stuff. And then I think maybe later, maybe in like 20, 30 minutes, maybe we should start talking a little bit more about photography. So for those of you who are interested in that, stick around. You can leave and come back if you're not interested in virus news. Current coronavirus cases around the world, 2.6 million cases. We always go to worldometers.info to get our numbers. It's got some pretty interesting charts and everything. Death numbers in the entire world, 184,000. Let's check out the United States in terms.
I saw this on the news yesterday, 2,800 new deaths, the largest number for the United States yet.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let me look into that.
So if you do yesterday, 2,800, and then today, I never know how this website works with now, because sometimes it fluctuates a lot, but at the moment, we're at 2,300. So we're only 500 away from breaking yesterday's death numbers.
But wait a minute. I haven't even read that. So we broke a daily death record. What do they attribute that to? Because the last time we broke records, it was because they added, now my editor's calling me. They've added, see, stuff like that normally gets edited out. Now I just have to, he's going to call me like 7 times now too, because he's like, why isn't he picking up?
Just keep.
But recently, when we have been hitting our record numbers, it's because the government has been going back in the past and saying, okay, we had these deaths on the book where we were unsure of how they died. Let's go ahead and just assume that they were coronavirus deaths. So they were pushing those numbers from the past into the future. Have you read anything like that about yesterday?
I haven't. So, but yesterday, I mean, as you can see, we were starting to go down, and then we went back up. And I'm bad with trend lines. All my investing buddies are always making these trend lines and stuff.
Yeah.
If you look at the trend line on this, I mean, it may have peaked and is going down, but with yesterday's numbers and then knowing what today's numbers are, I feel like the trajectory is still upward.
I mean, it appears that way, which is certainly bad news. I don't know if anybody in YouTube land can let us know what happened. I would imagine something strange happened for it to spike like that, but I could be wrong. Maybe it's just things are getting bad. I got into another heated argument with one of my buddies who just hates Trump with a passion.
Isn't it weird when, like, you're not a fan of Trump, but your buddy hates Trump, and you have to play? I know we play devil's advocate a lot on this show.
Yeah.
But isn't it a frustrating thing when you have to?
Well, it's very frustrating.
Counter the crazy
I tell
arguments.
him, I'm like, dude, you're blinded to the truth because you hate him so much. And the thing that he was focusing on tonight was that Trump has removed some oversight committee that was being used to make sure that the stimulus funds were being spent correctly or legally, whatever. And he was saying, remember back in 2008 when Bank of America or all these banks got the stimulus money or the bailout money, and then they just like fired employees and then gave all the money to the CEOs and stuff. At least that's what the headlines always say. I don't fully understand how any of that works. Yeah. So he's sending me articles about it and everything. And basically what it sounded like was Trump fired someone that he doesn't like, and I'm sure Trump is vindictive and being an asshole and all
Trump's
these things.
fired more people than any president.
And he's probably, people have quit under their own duress. They can't take it anymore.
I mean, how many press secretaries have we had? It's like more than any president had in their whole 8 years of presidency.
Exactly.
Like, it's kind of crazy.
But my point was that it said that he fired the person, and now someone else in some other department is in charge of hiring someone else to man that committee. So he was saying, Trump is doing this because he wants all of these corporations to be able to steal the money from the poor employees. And I'm like, whoa, if that is true, that's horrific. But that doesn't sound like it can possibly be true. And then, of course, when you read the article, it's not that simple. I'm not saying Trump is the most moral person on the planet, but I don't think you can jump to that conclusion.
Well, it's also funny to think that, like, you would want these head CEOs and the top people of these companies that keep the system going to fire all the people below that, keep the machine oiled.
Right.
Like you need some employees and you don't want unemployment to go sky high. Like, I don't know where the balancing point is there. A lot of people talk about stock buybacks and how awful that is because the companies are taking the money now and just rebuybacking their stock. But I don't always understand the pluses and minuses. There are pluses and minuses on both sides.
Yeah.
But you always hear it as like the negative.
Yeah.
These CEOs, I've heard of a lot of CEOs that are not going to take paychecks and they're going to try to keep their employees. I mean, you had Dave Ramsey was talking about that the other day too.
Yeah, he was refusing to take the money even if it was going to be forgiven because he doesn't trust the government or whatever. I will say, Gary Scott, thank you for the super chat or whatever it's called. He says, keep up the great work. I appreciate it, buddy. One other haterade comment that we got yesterday, I ended up just deleting it because it was so stupid. But in yesterday's video, I was looking at statistics of other countries and I brought up Australia.
Yeah.
And you were like, I said, guess how many deaths there are.
I said 1,000 or something.
Well, first you said,
500.
I don't even know what the population of Australia is. Yeah. So I wouldn't even know where to begin. And you were like, I don't know, 1,000 or whatever. And it was only 70 people have died in Australia. It's an incredibly low number. You would expect more to have died from the common cold in Australia than that. And somebody commented, how dare you not know the population of Australia? We've helped you with the last X amount of wars or something. And I'm like, what? What does that have to do with anything? We appreciate your help, but I haven't studied every country's population numbers, so sorry, guys. The other thing that we were arguing about on the phone was that my super liberal buddy is very angry at the idea of certain states opening back up.
I see it in these comments down here. People are talking about, look at Texas and look at Georgia, and all these places are going to have massive deaths because of it.
Yep.
And that certainly could be true.
Yep.
And if it's true, those politicians are done, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't. So much of it depends on how the media spins it, And if Texas opens up early and a lot of people die, but Texas businesses are good and unemployment levels are low, but then New York remains closed down for the next 9 months, and there's looting and rioting in the streets, then I would imagine a lot of people would be like, oh, Texas is doing okay.
Yeah, I do not know what to make of any of this because on one hand, I feel like people have the responsibility to say, hey, I'm going to go out and work. But when you're an employee and part of that system and you have to listen to your employer, it gets a little trickier. And if you're the employer and you make people go back to work and then people start getting sick and dying, is there now a liability there? I mean, you're starting to see where people are trying to sue China and all these crazy lawsuits are about to come out.
Yeah.
And on one hand, I want to think we should have it should be your own self-responsibility of, are you going to risk your own life versus just staying inside and maybe you don't go back to work. But it's not quite that simple,
No.
When you have insurance and you have, are you employed or unemployed? When you have people that need to be at work for a business to open, and if they don't go back to work, then that business should just not open. Like my dad, he couldn't possibly do dentistry if his hygienists and assistants didn't come in.
Yeah.
My dad can't do hygiene. He hasn't done hygiene ever. So he couldn't clean people's teeth,
Yeah.
and then he can't do operations without somebody there to help him, and he needs the front desk person.
And the other tricky thing is you could say, well, listen, if you want to go back to work, go back to work. If you're scared, stay inside. But the people who stay inside are going to want to be paid to stay inside. And if you pay the people to stay inside, then the people working, especially jobs they hate, are going to look at their buddies who are like, bro, I'm just fishing every day.
Yeah.
And I get 50 grand a year. My family gets 50 grand a year, whatever the new stimulus plan is going to be. And you're like, well, I work at McDonald's and I'm only making 30 grand a year.
Or, if half the employees go back and the other half don't, there's going to be animosity between them. Like, Jane is getting money by sitting at the house, and I'm getting the same amount of money, but I got to come here and put my life at risk and perform the work.
And you're literally paying the taxes that are going to Jane, and Jane is getting the money tax-free while you're paying taxes. So, yeah, it's definitely a crazy situation that we are currently in. but I think a lot of people are overlooking how fragile society and the economy is. I saw a video today on CNN of, I believe it was in Nigeria, of people like attacking this truck and just looting it, just stealing all the food out of this truck and fighting each other for these bags of rice or whatever it was. And they interview this guy. I don't think he was involved in robbing the truck, but he was like, I don't care what police do to me. I will continue to work every day because my family will starve. I don't care if they beat me. I don't care if I die of coronavirus. I am more afraid of starving than coronavirus.
Yeah.
And we look at that and we go like, yeah, but that's in Africa, and like it's not ever going to get like that in the United States. You're right. I don't think it's ever going to get that bad in the United States. But the second you stop giving people money to stay at home, there is going to definitely be an uptick in looting and rioting and theft.
Yeah, I don't know how bad it can get, you know. I've never lived through major riots. I always talk about the LA riots, and I find that extremely interesting. I love watching documentaries and, you know, how it relates to O.J. Simpson. I love gangster rap from the late 80s and early 90s. All that was influenced from the LA riots. But the second that you start having little grocery stores and bodegas and stuff broken into, and people start looting there, and then the store owner gets the gun to protect himself, and next thing you know, you might have shootings and fire. Like, it can escalate pretty quickly. Here in America, now maybe elsewhere around the world you don't have access to guns and stuff, but I hope it doesn't get to that. But I don't know what the solution is. Man, we have some people paying here.
We do, and this is going to be
So distracting.
Yeah, it's going to be so ridiculous to like jump between Nigerian truck lootings to what made you guys choose Nikon over Canon for weddings. So, but who knows? Like this can just.
Why don't we
be a
have like
fun
any
episode.
photo questions? We'll have to just do more live episodes of something, like a different show.
Yeah. But I say, like, if you can, guys, save your photography questions for like 20 or 30 minutes from now, and we'll do all the questions you want. But I do want to honor this guy. What made you choose Nikon over Canon, Patrick?
It's really silly. I had a film camera in college that was my dad's. It was the only film class I ever took, and it was Nikon. And so when it was time to buy a camera system, I had one prime lens that I thought I would use that I never did. And then you shot Nikon. So it was just like, oh, I have one crappy lens. It's manual focus. It doesn't do anything. Let me buy the Nikon. And then I knew if I assisted you, I'd be able to like use your gear and you could use mine. And that was probably the biggest reason.
So my reason is much dumber. I learned to shoot photography on my dad's Minolta camera, and then when SLR started going digital, I told my dad that I wanted the Canon, I don't even remember the name, but he took me to a Ritz camera, and we spoke with a sales associate, and we compared the Canon, I don't even remember the name, to the Nikon D100. And I think I may have said, I want the Canon. I think I had decided on the Canon, but I was like, I'd be happy with either. And this was Christmas, and this was a huge gift for me. This was like the gift of my lifetime. My dad was throwing the Hail Mary, like, please don't move home with us. I hope you can make money with this. Like, this is all you get.
Do you remember how much that camera was?
I think it was $1,500.
Wow.
Without the lens. And I remember I had a 1 gigabyte compact flash card, and I think it was
Wow.
$300 and some for 1 gigabyte. But anyway, I was so excited before Christmas, and I knew my dad's password. So I think I logged into his computer or his email.
So wrong.
And I saw that he had purchased the Canon from like a Best Buy or something. I saw a receipt in his email, and I was like, awesome, I'm getting that. And then Christmas morning, I get up, and the Nikon is there. And I was a little upset because I had just prepared for the Canon. I didn't know anything about the cameras back then. Like, I didn't know what was better or what, but I was like, oh, I thought you got me the Canon. And then he was like, oh, actually, I bought you both, but I decided to keep this one or whatever. And I don't think I ever revealed to him until this very moment that I hacked into
Dad,
his email.
he has your password. And
Now we just break into each other's Netflix and HBO.
I have a lot of little random things in here. There's now news reports. I can't remember what website this came from. That's going to be the problem with this podcast is we now can't insert the news to verify what we're saying.
But you know what? We don't have to worry about these damn copyright strikes pulling down the videos.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because that's also in my notes. But I have there's some new reports coming out that say the first cases in the United States at the moment, when did they happen? I think it was Chicago was the very first place that had...
It was January or something. That's what people were speculating like a few weeks ago.
Speculating, but now they're saying the first case in the United States was February 6th in Santa Clarita.
What do you mean February 6th?
The first diagnosed case has not been January or February yet, has it?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought this article was making it sound like this had come way earlier than when we thought.
Okay.
Now I'm going to have to look up.
This is when we would normally cut. So what is this suggesting?
This is suggesting that the virus is here much earlier in January because there was already.
So I thought I read something that said it came even earlier than that.
The theme, though, what I'm trying to get to is that it keeps getting pushed back further and further. There was not a time too long ago when we suggested maybe you got it over Christmas. And everyone was like, there's no way it was here in January or early December. And now a lot of authorities intelligence is starting to say that it definitely was here in January. Maybe nobody died yet in January.
Yeah.
But I can see where once we start doing more testing, there's going to be some deaths in January. And then you know what's going to happen? There's going to be deaths in 2019.
Yeah.
And so it opens up the gates for how many people actually have the virus. How many people were asymptomatic? How many people are over it? And there was a guy in the last video, I don't know how he got his numbers, but he was suggesting that maybe 60 million people in America already have it. And if
that would be great.
But you know what that would mean? That would mean that the death rate, which we were arguing about this off camera, could be like 0.8, 0.5. It would be significantly lower than where the death rate is now. Generally, the death rate they think is around 2 to 3%.
Yeah. But again, the death rate of the disease may not be as important as the overall death rate when you include how infectious the disease is. So even if it's less deadly than the flu, but far more contagious, that's really all that matters. Did you see the new conspiracy video that came out?
Oh boy.
Where the microphone was on either before or after the press conference?
I did see that, and people were saying, it's cool, we're already vaccinated.
Yeah, so it's funny because like the conspiracy people are like picking and choosing what these people said and making it fit into whatever their belief is. So it sounds like one of the guys made some joke and was like, don't worry, we're already vaccinated. So it's funny because a lot of the anti-vaxxer people who are like, vaccines don't work and they're controlling us like robots, they're like, aha, there is already a vaccine, but that doesn't really fit with your overall thought that vaccines are deadly, like they're meant to kill children or they're meant to make us robots. If these people are in the know and they have the vaccine already, why would they have taken the robot vaccine? That's stupid. But then the other...
Well, our press is robots.
Oh, okay.
That's the obvious conclusion.
Damn it, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that they said was kind of what we were just talking about. Like, did you hear the news, man? It's not nearly as deadly as we thought. And so people online are like, ooh, like they know the truth and they're hiding it from us. I think I read someone say like the people who were talking were like the camera crew, you know, and they were just messing around.
Yeah.
And they weren't high up officials at all. And, you know, it's basically like hearing us talking.
Well, we got vaccinated a few days ago, so that's cool. So I pulled up the article here, and it says, okay, I'll be very specific on this. Previously, the first death in America was thought to be February 29th in Kirkland, Washington, a suburb of Seattle that rapidly became a hotspot. So they are now saying the first death happened February 6th, which is way earlier than where they thought. So this is a death. This isn't the first case. First person died in America February 6th. Oh, and the other part that I didn't say was that this case apparently is not linked to anybody who's traveled. This person, when they start to look, he hadn't traveled anywhere. Now, whether or not he came in touch with somebody who had traveled, you would have to look into that. But February 6th, that means if it took him 6 days to get from having symptoms to dying, he most certainly came down with the virus in January. That moves the timeline at least a few weeks back.
Okay. We've got a couple more kind statements.
Now, what is this? What happened right here?
Yeah, I saw that. I'll get to that in a second. Great work, guys, from one of Lee's 7 YouTube fans. Thank you so much, PK0435. And then Ryan says, thank you for doing a daily show when we all need it. Thank you very much. We are trying to entertain not only you, but ourselves.
Well, I got an entertaining story.
Oh, boy.
We already knew this was coming for all those Tiger King fans out there. 2 house cats in New York have come down with coronavirus and have gotten sick and now are apparently recovering, but it raises a whole new question. How many domesticated animals now can get coronavirus? And even scarier, are animals like cats and dogs potentially able to now pass it back to humans? Is this going both ways?
All those nasty people like you who like hold dogs and let them lick you in the mouth and stuff like a insane, disgusting pervert. You deserve to die.
I don't know if that's true, but it is scary to think that what if all these animals are now becoming infected and they could potentially, because I think the CDC months ago, maybe a month or 2 ago, said that this can be carried in the fur of dogs and cats, I believe. Because Kristen was saying, oh, this is a time to get a rescue dog, and some of the dogs she wanted, they weren't too cute. They weren't cute enough. And so I was trying to be like, you know what, let's just wait. I think the CDC said, I love dogs, and I want a dog, but I want the right dog.
Dude,
I think there's a lot of people
you are so racist against dogs.
That's not I mean, I guess, is that racist?
I don't know.
Do dogs have race?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, isn't like a breed and a race kind of the same thing? We're probably going to get in a lot of trouble for talking about
Well,
this.
anyway, the point is now that we knew the tiger in the Bronx Zoo got sick.
Yep.
But now there's regular house cats that are getting sick.
Listen to this. My brother texted me yesterday. He is working in Asheville. He's like building somebody's porch or something. And he was like, dude, this guy who hired me, him and his wife personally knew Carol Baskins and her potentially murdered and fed to Tiger's husband.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Well,
Like,
hold on. Your brother's neighbors?
yeah, they're his neighbors, and he's
Okay.
working for them. They know Carol Baskins, or at least they used to be friends with her
Yeah.
when she had.
So she became a murderer.
Yeah.
They were like, we got to get out of
And
here.
I was like, what do they think? And he was like, I didn't really feel comfortable asking about the murder. But
we
somehow it came
they
up.
got to get them on the show. We could have breaking news here on the Fstoppers live channel.
I can't imagine the average person would want to
Put their name out there.
blame someone for murder when they have no idea. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
well.
It seemed even crazy to me how many people they got in that documentary to just say like, yeah, I really think she murdered her husband and fed him to a tiger.
Yeah.
That's a pretty bold
All
statement.
right, well, let's get back to some facts here.
Yeah, of
this
course.
show is about facts, not about speculation
Yeah,
of who
that's true.
killed.
That's true.
Another story we talked about yesterday, we've been talking about for a while, is, how do I segue into this? It's the idea that maybe the virus can be affected by heat and by humidity.
Yep.
And that maybe in the southern hemisphere, it's not as bad. If you look at the southern hemisphere by landmass and just density, it's much less dense than the northern hemisphere. But there's this idea that maybe when everything warms up, the virus will not be quite as effective. But there's also a lot of speculation. My dad's been saying this before coronavirus was really even that big of a thing. He's been saying you got to be taking your vitamin D. You got to start taking zinc. I think even vitamin A might be one of these things that they say you should take. Of course, vitamin C is always something. But vitamin D is a big one because in the winter, people are inside, the sun's not as high, and people are just getting vitamin D a lot less because your body produces that when the sun hits you. And so I was just thinking, what if vitamin D is a major player in this? It's probably not like the cure, but it probably helps with your immune system. But what if everyone's vitamin D levels are lower just because it's the winter, but then we tell everyone to shelter in place and stay in their home? We live in one of the most sunny places possible, and there are days, especially early on, where I didn't go outside and get any sun. And so then I started intentionally making myself go outside. I put on those nice short shorts so I get the maximum exposure on my legs. And I would
We
go
all
out there and I
appreciate
would
that.
try to get some sun. And it goes back to kind of what my dad was saying with the conspiracy stuff about the FDA and about natural drugs versus pharmaceutical drugs. But vitamin D is cheap. It's free if you go outside. Maybe more people need to be going outside just a little bit to get some sun, but that goes against a lot of these stay-at-home orders where you're not even supposed to be, like right here. We're not even supposed to really be walking around. I only say this for people like in New York City that are in tight spaces. Like we can just go in our backyard.
Yeah.
a lot of people don't have backyards. New York, you can't just go to the rooftop.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how many people are hurting themselves more. This is all total speculation. By staying inside and not getting sun, which produces vitamin D, if vitamin D could even be
So when you come out,
10%
you're
of-
just a little weaker than you might have been normally.
Yeah, but I mean, this whole COVID-19 is, it feels to me like it keeps pointing back to kind of like AIDS, kind of like HIV. It's pointing to like it's suppressing your immune system and allowing other underlying conditions to wind up killing you. There's obviously the pneumonia part of it that a lot of people are dying from, but there's a lot of deaths that are coming from things that are not necessarily the pneumonia attack in the lungs.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries that are very cold for a lot of the year, and you don't see those people dying just because they're inside a lot or they bundle up and only their face is exposed when they see the sun.
I don't know. There's a lot. I mean, are you talking about from coronavirus or elsewhere?
No, I'm just saying in general. In general. So
Sure, like you don't need vitamin D all the time. I mean, I don't know the whole mechanism of vitamin D, but if you were coming down with a cold or a flu or coronavirus, maybe, I mean, I'm taking vitamin D supplements. I'm going outside.
well,
I think vitamin D you can actually overdose on, so be careful how much you take.
but you can't overdose by just being in the sun, right?
You just get suntan,
Okay.
sunburned.
I'm okay with that. All right, we got another super chat. This says Americans are so inherently lazy they can't remember what politicians did 3 months ago, even with a Google search. So I don't think these early state politicians won't have anything to worry about. I agree with that, unless here's what I can foresee happening: you open up the state, people start going back to work, and then it gets really bad again, and now they have to lock down again. And people who were already pissed about being locked down a few months previously are like, hell no, like you're not doing it to me again
Yep.
this time.
Yep.
And that's when there's a battle.
Yep.
And it's even worse the next time. The fight is worse next time.
I totally agree. I think the more times we do this, the harder it's going to be to keep persuading people to stay inside. And maybe the only way that's going to happen is if people you know die. Like, we haven't had anyone that we know die, and I think that's jaded us to some degree. I keep thinking there's going to be a day on this show where somebody we know dies. And heaven forbid that's like a family member or one of us has to go on this show alone. But, you know, until somebody that we know personally dies, it's hard to say what we would do. I mean, we're already getting a little antsy being locked in the house.
Yeah.
But imagine, and we have enough money to survive, you know, for a while. Imagine if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're ready to get out there and work anyway. Maybe death won't even prevent you from doing that either. You're going to say, hey, I'm healthy. My friend that did die wasn't healthy. I'm ready to go out and work.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's a tough debate. One other thing that I wanted to talk about. I was listening to Peter Schiff today, and everybody on YouTube gets angry when I bring up Peter Schiff. In case you guys don't know who this is, he's kind of a, you know, sky is always falling, like government's always doing things wrong, dollar's gonna crash, you need to buy gold, and by the way, I sell gold, why don't you buy from me? He's that type of guy. And he predicted the 2008 financial crisis, but you could also argue that he predicts a new crisis every week and they never happen. So when he's right, it's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
But he was saying something today that sounded kind of interesting to me, and I thought we could kind of debate it. Now, we are not super savvy investors. We hardly know what's going on in the stock market now.
don't tell them that.
Funds are traded and everything, but you know, we were following the crazy oil prices yesterday.
Yeah.
And so he did a show that was mostly about that.
I would want to listen to that. I tune Peter Schiff out. Like, I tune in a few times a month just to see, but I haven't heard him in a
When
while.
something really bad happens, he's really fun to watch. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a podcast, so you guys can look him up. He's also down here in Puerto Rico. But he was saying that the way it works is that the people that are buying and selling commodities like oil or gold or whatever, they're not actually buying the product. They're buying contracts and then selling these contracts to other people that actually want the oil and refine the oil or distribute the oil to BP and Exxon and whatever. But the people that are like buying and trading on a daily basis don't have any way to actually own the oil.
Yeah.
They just are buying these contracts. So what happened was the price kept going down and down and down and down, and these people that are buying the contracts are looking at this going like, oh my gosh, someone has to take delivery of this, but no one is buying it from me.
Yeah.
So I have this contract for X amount of barrels of oil that I'm putting up for sale.
And the futures contract, if I understand this right, is now more, like significantly more than the one that you hold in your hand, right?
Well, in the future, I think oil, like maybe in a month or something, oil is $20 a barrel, right? But yesterday it was like negative $40 a barrel. So
that's what I'm saying. There's a big divide between the monthly
So
contracts.
the basic premise is like these people have millions of dollars in oil that needs to be delivered to someone. They've never been in a position in their entire lives where they are going to have a truck of oil come to their house.
Yep.
So they're like, we have to sell this. So they put it up and they're like, sell for any price. It keeps going down and down and down and down and down until all of a sudden it's like, I have to pay someone to take this oil or else it's going to get dumped on my lawn. Like I cannot do this. So it goes all the way down to I am now paying someone else $40 per barrel to take this oil away.
Do you know how that actually works? Like, is there an address attached to your account?
I don't know.
Could you just like punk somebody and be like, hey, send it to my arch enemy?
I have no idea how that works. I mean, Peter was joking.
There has to be so many like things in place to where someone's not going to just drive up with a tanker.
I know. I don't know.
Because what is he going to do? Just start dumping it out on, like
right. It doesn't make any sense.
Gotta be safeguards,
Peter was
right?
joking that people should start like emptying their pools and just filling their pools with oil.
So they're trying to do here. Our neighbors were legitimately thinking of doing that. We had people scouring the island for tanker trucks. I have text messages of people saying, here's a $25,000 tanker truck we could buy right now, 4 hours away. And I'm just thinking, this seems crazy. And I made a joke, who would do this for a couple $1,000s? But like you said, maybe it could be millions of dollars. You know, if you could make $1 million profit or $500,000 profit, and at worst, you just sit on a tanker. And if it was diesel or something, some of the boats use diesel. I don't think they're talking about gas. I think they're talking about crude oil.
Well,
so I don't know what you would.
Oil like refined and you can put it in a diesel truck, or is it like black tarry mess that you then have to go and refine? I don't know what it is. But anyway, Peter's whole point was never in a million years would anyone have guessed that could happen.
Yeah.
Like, who would pay someone to take oil that's worth millions of dollars? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But he was like, I am predicting the opposite will happen with gold. And of course, Peter, wants gold to go to $1 billion an ounce.
Yeah.
But he had a really good point. He's like, think about it. Everyone who buys gold does not actually take ownership of the gold.
Yep.
And all the people who are shorting gold don't actually own the gold to short. So he's like, what I'm speculating, and the reason why gold prices haven't gone up yet, like significantly, they're definitely going up.
Yep.
Thankfully, I own a lot of gold right now because it's like the best thing I own.
Or do you own gold?
Well, that's his point. He's like, people think they own gold, but they don't. It's not like, it's just all on paper. It's numbers right now. But eventually, when things get bad enough in the United States or with the US dollar or whatever, people are going to run to gold. And the shorts are going to realize like, oh man, I have to cover this. I don't want to have to cover this. And someone is going to have to take delivery of the gold. But unlike oil, everyone who owns gold is happy to take ownership of gold.
It would make you feel better about your purchase.
And gold is so small. Like, do you know how much? I looked up, like, a gold brick that you see in the movies. Do you have any idea how much that's worth right now?
I'll just throw a number out. I would think that's like $10,000.
It's like $700,000.
Really?
Yeah, the last time I looked, I could be wrong. Double check me, everyone. But I think it's like $700,000 for just one of those things.
Okay.
So he was like, "What is going?"
Do you have any idea how heavy that is?
Oh, it's super heavy.
Really?
I think gold is really, really heavy.
Okay.
But the idea is that you could put it in your house and like it
Put it
would
in
be
a safe or
fine. It's not like thousands of barrels of oil that you don't have anywhere to put. So he's like, what's going to happen is people are going to start wanting to collect their gold in real life, just like this oil. But people are not going to actually have it. So the prices are going to go up. And you're going to say, hey, I own X amount of gold. I want my gold. and I'm gonna be the guy who was like shorting gold or in a shorter position, and I'm gonna go like, okay, I'll get you your gold, don't worry. And then I'm going the next guy and the next guy and the next guy, and they're saying we don't have any
This,
gold.
if I believe, and again, I don't know enough about this. I think this happened a few weeks ago. One of the largest holders of gold in the United States had this exact problem, and I don't know how it manifested itself, but there was this idea that there's not enough gold to go around, that all these contracts and all the stuff's being sold, but they themselves, there's like a gold shortage right now. And I don't know, I mean, in theory, it's like when the dollar was backed by gold, there was that amount of gold for the dollar.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would think that would exist with all these contracts too, you know? If there's $100 trillion in gold out there, that there's $100 trillion worth of gold. But maybe that could be off by a multiple or something.
Or it's just like everyone is saying that they have it because they think that it's like, you ask me if I have gold, and I'm like, yeah, I got a lot of gold. But I have contracts for gold.
You ask me how much cash do I have, and I say I have some cash. But I don't have that cash. It's just a number in my account.
Right.
And,
right.
you know, we've gone to banks before and said, hey, I need to get, maybe you're about to buy something big. You're going to buy like your new skateboard or something. You're like, I need $1,500 cash. Maybe they'd have that amount. But like, think of something that's like $4,000, $10,000. I need $10,000 in cash.
Yeah.
And sometimes banks, depending on where you go, are like, we can't give you that amount of cash right now. And you're like, it's in my account and I bank with you. How can you not give me $10,000 cash? And they're like, we don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with cash.
I agree.
The only thing you do have, you have that Bitcoin.
I do.
Because it doesn't exist to begin with. It's just a contract.
I just have a little bit of Bitcoin though. Like I have a lot of gold. I bought.
Yeah.
I have more. I guess my house is worth more than my gold. But other
Just
than that,
a few weeks ago, you said you were all cash. You just been slowly buying gold.
I bought like 3 big chunks of gold.
Yeah.
But you know, it was probably a month or so ago. That was my last purchase. I don't want to buy it right now as it's going up, but maybe I should. In hindsight, we're about to find out.
This guy says actually there's no gold behind the contracts, and that is true. Some of these gold companies, these ETFs, like you bought one that was like a lot of gold miners, and like it's the industry of gold. So sometimes it's not truly bricks of gold.
We are pushing comments up here. I want to make sure I get all of to all of the super chats or comments, whatever it's called. Some guy named Ivan sent us 250 PHP. I don't know what that is. Patrick Hall Photography.
That'd be amazing.
He says, thanks for doing a daily show. Are there reopened Puerto Rico rallies? I haven't seen any. That being said, I don't watch Puerto Rican news. I don't have a TV with local channels and stuff. And
I have a TV, and they always play New York City news.
Okay.
So I see exactly what's happening in New York. But I would assume a lot of Puerto Rican news might be in Spanish.
I would think.
I can't speak Spanish, so.
Yeah, but usually, like, I'm pretty up to date because of all the groups I'm in with locals and stuff. We share the big news stories with each other, and I haven't seen any sort of rallies to get back to work. So I don't think that's an issue here.
This guy's saying the oil actually doesn't come in a container. You have to go and take your own tanker and
you got to get it yourself. But
what happens if you just say no?
Something bad has to happen at that point.
I would like to know
I don't know what that would be. Victor Cadore says, I use ad block, so here's a little something since you're making so many entertaining videos these days. Thanks. Thank you, Victor. Very kind of you.
We were talking about this the other day. What about farmers dumping milk and tossing out eggs? Was that in yesterday, or maybe that was in the critique that we filmed that isn't out yet?
Okay.
But I was just saying, like, all these crazy stories are coming out with the people having to take gas deliveries and the people pouring out milk because there's no way to get it delivered, you know? And I was thinking, if I was a photographer in a rural area, maybe I would get in my car and make some contacts and try to go out and take some really interesting portraits or like news, like really well polished news story images, and you could sell those. Like I would feel totally safe doing a one-on-one shoot at a good distance, you know?
Although now that we know wildlife can get the Rona, it could be very dangerous being near all those cows.
Is there anybody else you need to give a shout out to?
Not at the moment. Is there anything else news related that we need to talk about? I think there's a few things.
Kristen just texted me and she was like, what period, R period, U period, wearing?
Oh, she's watching us
She's
live?
not happy. Somebody says I look like I'm about to see the ghost of Christmas past. Other news stories. You mentioned this. I don't know if you mentioned this in a coronavirus update, but you said you were watching Linus Tech Talk a month ago or so, and he was like, computers are going to be really hard to find. I'm hearing from a lot of my investing group, a lot of these people buy stuff to resell them, and at first it was the masks, and now that's banned from doing, you can't do that. But now the next thing, maybe for the last month, they've been buying webcams because a $25 webcam is now selling for $75. And I haven't had time to really look into this, but apparently computer parts, I have some people in this group that build computers for companies. Computer parts are hard to find. They're super expensive and marked up now. Computer and office furniture and stuff is hard to find now. And so there is a run on computer stuff, which you told me about a long time ago, that it might be really hard to start buying laptops and stuff because they're all made in China, and now everyone's working from home, which I don't even think was part of the equation that Linus had back then.
No, it was just that China factories were shutting down, and if a single part is not available, you might have the computer all built, but you need that LED light.
Yeah.
And those are backordered.
At what point do you think it's going to, I mean, computers are way more necessary than camera gear, but I assume that could happen with camera manufacturing too.
Absolutely, it's definitely going to happen. It's like, I guarantee you there were products that were supposed to be coming out or out already and they're not. You know, it feels so weird when Apple is releasing products right now, and I like it. I'm not saying they shouldn't be. It's good. It feels normal. But Apple just released the new iPad. They released the new iPad, like, floating keyboard case thing.
Okay.
And I'm seeing all these people reviewing this, and, you know, we're still trying to do some photography videos. Like, I think you might have released one today that you've been working on. I've got one that I've got to finish before David murders me. But it also feels a little weird when, like, the world is burning around us and we're like, hey guys, you should buy this new iPhone SE 2. You know, it just, I think the average company that's not as big as Apple is going, you know what, let's just wait a little bit until people are in a buying mood before we start pushing this stuff on them.
Well, people were saying how similar the computer part stuff was from, you know, the graphics card run that happened back when Bitcoin was being all mined.
Yeah.
And somebody here is talking about Bitcoin and computer parts. And it just makes me think, like, Bitcoin, not to totally change topics here, but Bitcoin was designed out of the last recession. The idea was we have to have a monetary asset that is not tied to the dollar or not able to be inflated or deflated based on what a central bank does. And so I think, like, this is the time for it to shine. Maybe could Bitcoin not succeed with another massive recession, depression, and then somehow succeed down the road? Or is this the moment for Bitcoin?
I do not know. I don't know. You would think, like, this is it. You need to prove yourself. But in a way, I feel like Bitcoin's kind of already proved itself. What is Bitcoin worth right now? Is it
7,000
$7,000?
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. It's just numbers. Like, it's meaningless. It's
2 years
worthless.
ago, it was 19,000.
I know, but, like, even still, a few months before it was 20,000, it was 5,000. You know, so.
Yeah. Well, they're about to have their halving moment. So they call it halving, or how do you say that word?
I don't remember.
H-A-L-F or H-A-L-V-E-S. The idea there is that you have to do twice as much work to produce the same amount of Bitcoin. And it will keep happening until it just, you know, they run out of Bitcoin to produce. And so I get these emails every now and then that just say, once that happens, it's only maybe happened twice before, but the 2 times that it happened, Bitcoin jumped like crazy. So I'm at least holding on and waiting through this. Like, I don't have a lot in Bitcoin, but I think, like I just said, if this is the time for it to shine, why would you not hold on to it and just see what happens?
Yeah, well, as long as it's a small percentage of your
Because if it goes up, because it's never been tested, as far as I know. I mean, it hasn't been tested by a major recession.
Right.
If Bitcoin takes off because of the recession, then at that point, like, you have to be a believer, right?
Yeah.
And if it outpaces gold, what is your boy Peter Schiff going to say then?
Peter Schiff is so funny with Bitcoin. He hates Bitcoin so much. And anytime Bitcoin does poorly, he'll bring it up on the show. But anytime gold does poorly, he doesn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
We have another super chat from Max Tech. What's up, guys? Love your channel. Love the show, guys. Where do you buy your gold and silver from? And what do you think about silver so far? When stocks dove in 2008, silver went from 15 to 45. Now it's 15. I have, first of all, the first question: where do I buy the gold from? I'm not buying
Where
like
to
gold
gold
bars.
at? Where to gold at?
I want the gold. Let's see. One of my funds is the Fidelity Select Gold Fund, which is FSAGX. It went up 5.7% today. That's pretty awesome.
How much?
5.7%. And then what was the other gold fund that you told? So it's funny. I bought a bunch of that fund, and then when the recession started to hit, the virus started to hit, it was like crashing hard. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I realized that this gold fund is not necessarily gold. It's a lot of gold stocks. So it's a lot of miners and stuff, which
Yeah.
of course, you're not really going to be mining much when there's zombies outside. So that's
But
why they
maybe
got
with
hit
oil
hard.
prices an all-time low, maybe the miners are now going to get back to work and have more production.
Exactly.
It's hard to know what these
That's
things
what
are
Peter
gonna do.
Schiff is suggesting. He thinks that the gold mining stocks are going to be like the biggest to rebound soon or go up. They don't really need to rebound. They're doing really good. And then what was the other gold fund that was more?
I have
actually
iShares Gold Trust, which is IAU.
Yeah.
It's only up 1.8% today, so obviously it doesn't track the same as yours.
But this is the gold like companies, whereas that's the price of gold.
Yeah.
So I have that as well.
And where to buy it? I mean, we have like Fidelity accounts. You may have like what are some other ones? People always use the Robinhood, and then there's like
E-Trade.
you need a brokerage account.
Yeah. Is
But
there-
my suggestion is if you have a 401k with any kind of business that you might have worked in the past. I know a lot of you guys are photographers out there and are self-employed, which is to say you still can have a 401k if you're self-employed. But whoever handles that, you might be able to set up an individual investing brokerage account with the company that holds your 401k. If you have a 401k just floating out there in a job that you've already quit, you can open a Fidelity account and then move that 401k into your Fidelity account. Because if you're like me, you're going to be using that account much longer in life than some random account that you had with a business like Ritz Camera.
Anything else you want to talk about with Rona?
I got more notes.
Oh boy, let's keep going
The
then.
thing that's interesting about this is I have a feeling we will probably go longer now.
You
But
think?
we're also able to have comments literally on everything we say. If we say something stupid that gets overshadowed by the next topic, on YouTube, people may not even point out that topic we talked about at all. But now that it's live, people are going to be talking about it as we're saying it.
It's true.
So we can go back to the copyright on our videos. That was another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit. Because people keep saying, how in the world are you guys getting all these copyright strikes and you're getting them worked out and you're getting them dropped?
Yeah.
We haven't actually had a copyright strike, and I'm not exactly sure how that happens. I think we had copyright strikes in the past, especially when we were using like Lady Gaga's music and
Yeah.
stuff. Seems like YouTube changed their way of doing business around maybe 2014, where instead of doing strikes, they just took all of the money that your channel made or your video made and just gave it to that artist or that producer of content. So instead of removing your video for having a Lady Gaga song like they did 10 years ago, they just said, we'll give the publishing company that has Lady Gaga's music and pay the royalties of your channel.
What an
back.
amazing negotiation those music companies made. You know, it's like people are going to make a podcast, and the podcast might be 3 hours long, and for 4 seconds there's a Lady Gaga song within this podcast. And the music companies are like, yeah, we want 100% of the money from that podcast. And YouTube is like, okay, that sounds legitimate. Let's give them all
I
the
bet
money.
you YouTube's not paying them 100%. I bet you YouTube's still taking
Oh
a
yeah,
cut.
YouTube's probably taking their cut. But I'm saying 100% of our cut is going to Lady Gaga when it's like might be played in the background of someone else's clip that we're showing and giving credit to. It's just it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, we haven't been getting actual strikes. We've either, in the best case scenarios, that video becomes demonetized. Maybe that's it. Other cases, it's still monetized, but it's going now to NBC or somebody. Lately, we've had a few clips from like NBC News and HBO. And in those cases, the video is pulled entirely, like instantly.
Yeah.
And that's why some of our videos are coming out so late. But what's really frustrating about all of that is that it's an algorithm, and lawfully you have the right to do commentary.
Yeah.
It's like free use.
Fair use.
Fair use. And you can do commentary on stuff, and we can't just play a random funny clip and have no purpose for it,
Yeah.
But the algorithms of YouTube have no way to know how you used it. And I'm sure there's also some percentage. Like I put a Bill Maher clip in there the other day that was like a 7-minute thing. And maybe it should have been like 30 seconds, and that would have been more fair use, but 7 minutes now is. But so it gets pulled, but there's no way to really challenge it.
Well, you can challenge it, but
it
takes a long time.
It may take weeks or months.
And we're trying to have these up daily, so even if it took 2 days to have it worked out, that wouldn't be worth it. And then the other option is, in the back end of YouTube, when something gets hit with a copyright strike, it will show you in the video what's illegal.
Yeah.
And it'll like highlight it automatically, which is amazing. Like YouTube's doing all the work. Great. So you can hit a button that says, trim that part out of the video. Okay, like that makes total sense. This is easy. But I don't know what the hell YouTube's doing. When you hit trim, it's like, okay, processing. And it will literally take days to process. Don't they have supercomputers over there at Google that can process that quickly?
I mean, I know our computers are pretty powerful, and they're editing and exporting at 1:1 at the best. I think my computer does like 1 to 1.3.
But you know what the computer could do is just during the time that, like, before it actually trims that section out, it could just make it black and be silent for like a minute or 30 seconds or however long the clip is,
Yeah.
The one that I got copyright striked for yesterday, I really think it was like a 10-second clip.
Yeah.
It wasn't some sitcom or anything. It was just a news anchor saying one sentence.
And what's so frustrating is, you'll do 12 videos and nothing. And then all of a sudden, like lately, I feel like
I think the last 3 of our videos.
we had some bad ones with the conspiracy stuff. We put in some videos from other channels, which is super ironic. The conspiracy stuff, they're like, share this video, get it out there. And then the second you share it in your video.
But I'm starting to think that it wasn't a human doing it. I mean, we were getting.
No, it's software, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying that company made a claim. Like, we could probably do that. We could probably.
Yeah, but I bet you YouTube banned that video because it was spreading the 5G propaganda.
Yeah.
And so it recognized that we had a section of it, so it just cut our whole video off immediately. That's what I think happened now.
Yeah. They're saying it's always NBC. I mean, I put one of the videos that I had a lot of Saturday Night Live clips in there. And again, I'm just trying to show you the production value of what I'm talking about.
Right.
And they're like, no, you can't, you can't do that.
Yeah,
so
it's
it's
very
super
frustrating.
frustrating. And so this will be an answer to that, but at the same time, we're not able to show you all the fun clips.
Yeah.
So you have to take our word for it. So long story short, we don't have any strikes. We haven't had any strikes. They've just simply removed the video, which is nice. I don't know what you have to do to get a strike on YouTube, but that would be scary if we had one or two.
We'd have to stop making
we
the
just
show.
have to stop doing it.
Yeah.
And how much power does YouTube have with that move?
Oh my gosh, that would be horrifying.
It'd
If
be
they
real-
like closed our channel down because we were making news videos, like that would be so horrible.
Another thing I just wanted to mention, I don't want to get into this too much, but yesterday or 2 days ago, I said something about I'm reading this book and that the U.S. carpet bombed Panama.
Okay.
And there's been some people that lived in Panama in 1989, and there's been some people that were in the Air Force that might have done the bombing. And carpet bombing was probably a little too explicit,
Outrageous, yeah.
outrageous of a word to use, But we killed 300 people in a small province on the edge of the canal.
Or were these civilians?
Civilians, 300.
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
But the U.S. intelligence has intelligence that is maybe it's still classified that say 1,000, 2,000, and there's a lot of human rights groups that say 1,000 to 3,000 people died.
Wow.
It's just very hard. And Noriega also set fire to things, so maybe he killed some civilians. It's like a messy thing, and it's not like. Maybe what I made it sound like was that we carpet bombed all of Panama and destroyed the country.
Yeah.
That's not true either, but if you read about it, it's a pretty crazy story. And all I was trying to say is the United States has a history with, the Arab Spring. I know that was also caused by locals, but things came out of the Arab Spring like Libya and Syria, Egypt, Central American countries. How many dictators and people of power have we taken out there, Cambodia, I mean, we bombed the crap out of Cambodia during the Vietnam War. Add Vietnam to that list. Iraq. And now I'm concerned, like, what could happen with North Korea? We don't know if Kim Jong-un is dead.
I didn't hear anything about that today.
I saw a ticker that just said that the intelligence now is saying he may not be in danger.
He's like good to go now.
But everybody is still saying they haven't seen him since the 15th. But I have been saying from day 3 that there's a very good chance if we go into a massive depression that the United States will find a way to go to war with somebody. And I think North Korea could be a contender. But did you see today Trump's tweet about Iran?
I did. He was like saying that if anybody from Iran is like enticing our battleships, we should kill them or something. I don't even understand.
He gave the order. I should be able to read the tweet right here, but he said he gives the order for our naval or our air force to shoot down any. I think he was talking about. It's not Iran. It's Iran. It'll be right here. The Iranian battleships. So I don't know exactly where they're passing.
I mean, I would think that any ship that would entice one of our warships would be shot down. It doesn't seem like that's
was
new
it
news.
Iran or was it Russia that their jets were like coming like within hundreds of feet, less than that, of our aircraft carriers like a year ago? You remember these? Where like the jets were flying. I mean, they were flying within.
Well,
100
if
feet.
they had gotten shot, like I don't know that I would be surprised.
You're just playing
you know?
with fire there. I mean, we also had those things. Well, I wish I just knew it well enough. But something was happening in Turkey, or was it Russia again was also doing something with jets? And did Turkey shoot somebody down? I need to be able to check these facts. But something happened in Turkey like 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was like with the Syrian war and all that stuff and ISIS, and everyone was concerned that like you start shooting down jets of nuclear-powered countries. It's, you know, that's scary.
Yeah, it is
Not
scary.
nuclear powered, but countries with nuclear arms.
All right, let's lighten the mood a little bit. Let's not talk about war and carpet bombing. Let's talk about Joe Schmo's super chat. Lee shaved, then turned himself into a pickle. I don't even know what that means.
That's
know
what
what that
this has
means?
come to?
What does that mean?
I don't know, but that doesn't seem like. Thanks for the donation, but is that really?
And then P Moore 4321 gave us $5 and a thumbs up.
Do you know what his avatar is? Is that, you know what that is?
I have no idea.
That is the insert for a record. So if you had a record, a vinyl record, and it was a single and you didn't have the hole, you have to put that little adapter in there.
Oh, no, I didn't know.
Learn something every day.
Interesting. Let's talk a little bit about photography.
Well, one of my notes is about photography.
Go for it.
You know who Scott Bourne is, right?
Yeah.
You've met Scott.
Yeah.
Scott is extremely successful photographer that you wouldn't think is successful because he shoots birds.
Yeah.
But if you know him, he's very, very successful. I
Yeah.
think he has like a state in Italy or something.
Okay.
He recently posted something on his Instagram that just said, "I'm done with Instagram because of this new court ruling." And basically the court ruling, we actually talked to a lawyer today about some lawsuit that we have going on. And basically the new ruling is that if you put your images on a third-party platform like Instagram, in many cases you are agreeing to a terms of service that then allows that platform to allow those images to be embedded on other websites without you now being able to go after those websites for copyright infringement. So for example, if I had an image and I put it on my Instagram account and it's a beautiful image, just say it's a coronavirus image, and then suddenly the New York Times or anybody takes that image off Instagram, uses the embed code to put it on their platform.
Now, to be clear, when you do that, does it show up as Instagram with the links and the title of who took it?
Usually
and
it does.
That's what I thought. So that seems totally fine to me. The tricky part is when you can just take the embed code from any JPEG on the internet and put that on your website.
Well, that's what this lawsuit is tackling. Is there used to be, what is the word I'm looking for? There's like a standard where if you use an embed code and point to another server that you do not own, that the infringement didn't happen. But if you save that file, let's say you're a wedding photographer, you save that file. These are horrible wedding photographers that do this, by the way.
Yeah.
They take a picture from your portfolio, from PyJers's portfolio. They save that image. They put it on their portfolio, on their website. Suddenly now, because the image is hosted on their website, it is now an infringement. Whereas if you could have just displayed the image from Pi's website,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be the same copyright infringement. Now, our lawyer today was saying that there is still some kind of copyright based on displaying, but it's not quite as powerful as.
Hold on, let me
the
stop
images.
you right there. This is a really important comment. Lee is awesome. Patrick is a female dog.
Perfect.
Okay, continue.
So, basically, what Scott is upset with is that he agreed to the terms and service of Instagram, and I'm sure it's on every social media platform. It's on our platform. Like, we don't take many people's images and do a whole lot with them. We might use it to promote the Critique the Community or put them in the Critique the Community. But it's there. Every platform has that to save themselves. But I kind of think it's a good thing, because most major copyright infringements are going to be over images that are used commercially by big brands, not by some little blog or news agency or whatever. It's going to be Coca-Cola took your image and put it on a billboard.
Yeah.
And no big company is going to run an ad campaign with an image that they don't have the license for. And they're definitely not going to use it with an embed code that at any moment could be removed by a third party or the original user.
What do you think about this, though? Let's say you're a really crappy wedding photographer and you don't have any pictures of your own. So you go to another photographer's website, you grab the embed codes from their server, and you place the embed codes on your website. So technically speaking, maybe you're not breaking copyright, but at the same time, you have to be doing something illegal by making it seem like those photos are yours and you took them.
Yeah, I think our IP lawyer would have said that you're still breaking copyright by displaying it somehow on a channel. He was getting into all that, but I knew at the same time that our lawyer was charging us for every minute I was on the phone. Yeah. So after a while, I was like, all right, great conversation. We got to get off this. But that has been a big copyright law that has just happened, and I saw Scott claims he's going to get off Instagram. The problem is Instagram and Facebook are so powerful right now that it's really crazy to think that, are you really going to leave Instagram?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can make so much more money off that than that one little rule.
My iPad is at 5%.
Oh, dude, my iPad's at like 10%. It's killing me to be on YouTube streaming it. But luckily, we've got our phone, so I think we have
All right, so we have Sam who says, understandable or ridiculous is that YouTubers can't say coronavirus or they get demonetized. Free speech? I don't think that's true at all, because
I don't think that's true either.
We started a Patreon because our videos were demonetized, but that might have only lasted for a week or two. And we're still running the Patreon. We're still going to give all that money to a charity here in Puerto Rico. But most of, or not, if not all of our videos now, do not have a demonetized symbol.
Yeah.
So we are still making.
We're making like $6 a video.
We're still making our $6 a video. So maybe fewer ads run on that. But what's ironic with all this is that YouTube, I think, was like, we got to demonetize all coronavirus videos. And I don't know if that was because of conspiracy theories or because
I think maybe advertisers at the time
didn't want to be associated with it.
Yeah, maybe so.
And then now everything's coronavirus. I mean, I watched TV upstairs for an hour or two at night just to wind down, and you were like, I haven't seen a commercial in a year. And I'm seeing every one of these commercials. I'm seeing Monty's commercial with the pictures that he took.
So
I'm seeing ads for every company that's doing it.
Yesterday, maybe we had that talk about, I think it was yesterday, that I had not seen a single ad just because I don't watch TV. And I went on bestofyoutube.com. You guys can see it. It may be the very first video. It's kind of funny. Right after we filmed, I saw this. And the title of this video was something like, every coronavirus ad is the same.
Yeah.
And dude, it was creepy. It's like sad music. And you know, it's like the banks, the hospitals.
Starts
the
off with
hotels.
empty buildings.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the music ramps up.
Yeah, and then it's like, in these uncertain times. And it just plays it on like 20 different commercials. On these uncertain times, on these uncertain times, on these uncertain times. And then, you know, it's like, we are here for you. We have been with you for the last 72 years. And we will be with you tomorrow as well. And I'm just like, this is creepy stuff. And who is falling for this? Who is like, yeah, I'm going to go stay at this hotel now.
It's like Monty Isom has been saying to us for the last couple of years. It's all about being top of mind. It's putting your brand out there so that you remember them, you know. And if maybe you go into your bank account and you see that monthly fee, you have a better impression of them because they had that
guess,
touching commercial, and you're like, oh.
Or it's just on top of mind. Maybe that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's just on top of your mind. Like, yeah, because I remember thinking that when I was younger, I thought Honda ruled the world in terms of cars. I thought Hondas were like the best, the most reliable. If you want a reliable car with good resale value, Honda is the choice.
Is that not true? I mean, it's Honda
No,
and Toyota.
I think it might be. I think it might be relatively true, but I don't see Honda ads anymore, ever. And I think Honda made some decision a long time ago that they were just going to give up on a lot of their advertising and instead keep it for profits and let the other car companies compete for hundreds of millions of dollars in ads a year. But it has changed my mind. I don't even think about Honda as an option anymore. All I think about now is like Toyota and Nissan are like good, reliable, affordable cars. And then people are like, yeah, but what about the Honda?
What about Hyundai?
I think about Hyundai more than I think about Honda because
Kia.
I just don't. I think about Kia more than Honda. So there is something to be said.
Well,
for
the big
just being
one
out
was
there.
the one that I saw the other night is a lot of like State Farm. A lot of insurance companies are saying, hey, we're taking 20% off your insurance because we know you're not driving nearly as
cool.
much. So
That's
you
cool.
see a commercial like that and you're thinking, well, I'm saving money.
Yeah,
And it
or
makes you feel good
like
about them.
that's actually a good company. I hate my insurance company. Maybe I'll call them. Like that makes sense.
Yeah. This says Patrick needs to watch Bill Burr talking about shelter dogs. The clip is called Free Dog. It was a $5 clip. I am getting paid $5 to watch Bill Burr, who think is one of my favorite comedians.
There you go.
So I can't beat that. There was something else you were talking about that I was going to...
Commercials.
Commercials? Yeah, it was something else. I don't remember.
Talk about the new. Is it called the Canon R5? Have you read anything about this camera? You don't know anything about it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna grab beers right out of this fridge. You want one?
I don't know if I need a beer,
Yeah,
but
you do.
if you can grab that charger, I'm at 3%. I will make a fool out of myself by saying I've had people texting me, and I've been casually glancing at the Canon R5, and it sounds like it just does crazy stuff. Like, does it shoot 8K internally?
Yes, it does shoot in 8K, and it's got some insane bit rate that doesn't seem like mathematically possible right
What do
now.
I have to do? I have to plug it into this thing? Can you hand
It's
me
not
that?
gonna work. Just use your phone. What are you doing?
I don't know. I like the iPad. It's like, you know, when you go to a bar and you hold the beer, and you just have to hold the beer because like it's like a comfort. You know, if you had to look at that, drop straight down. If you had to go to the bar and you're not drinking, you have to stand there like this, and you feel awkward and weird.
Yeah, you want something in
The
your hand?
iPad is like that for me. It's
You're
like,
nervous to be live on the air, but the iPad is comforting.
I mean, I've been doing that this whole podcast. It's just
Okay.
nice to have it.
Well, here you can. Mine has 14%.
Well, no, you read the.
So the R5, you don't care at all. I'm gonna buy that
Dude.
camera. I'm gonna buy it.
Is it a film camera or a stills camera?
He doesn't even know what it looks like. It's like a DSLR, full frame. People are speculating around 45 megapixels. It's basically like a D850, but mirrorless with good autofocus, and it can shoot in 8K. And what I'm most excited about, it can shoot 4K 120. And we have a Sony A7 III here, and I like it okay, but I don't like the grip on it. I don't like the menu system, and I think it would be good for us to have a Canon camera here anyway, just to review Canon glass and stuff, Canon products. So as long as it's less than $4,000, I think I'll buy it. I'll buy a Canon 2470 just to have around here.
8K RAW.
Yeah, I don't like. How is that humanly possible? Maybe not humanly possible. How is
You're
that?
gonna have like hard drive. Like, is this a little memory stick?
I think it's
Compact
got
flash
the
or
what's the
CFast?
new one? CFast 2 or whatever.
That's,
So I don't
man,
know.
you're talking about $300 memory cards for your old D100.
It's gonna be so expensive. It's gonna be so expensive. But I think it might take SD as well. But yeah, if we could shoot just 4K 120 on an SD card that we already own, that would be awesome. I don't need to shoot 8K. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm really excited to set up a live studio kind of like this, but that's a little bit better. I've been in contact with Blackmagic, and they have this new device coming out that's this switcher that they said they're going to send us one. And basically, you can be like a TV show, but it's made for streaming. Peter Hurley had the older one. They're sending us the new one.
Okay.
And the idea here is that we could have multiple cameras and multiple computers set up and coming into this device. And then this device sends out one signal. So you could be like looking up a video on your computer, and I could be talking to the camera.
That'd be amazing, because this is very rough right now.
Yeah,
If I could
exactly.
just right here with my hand, just click tight on you from that camera that we're not
Yeah.
even running.
Then you could like,
And then I could go to the
Run, get a
bathroom,
beer,
I
yeah.
get a beer, I could like charge my iPad, I could queue up the video.
yeah.
And then I could just pipe the video and then cut right back to me. You have the controller now.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get that thing, and it
See,
would.
that's the stuff, though, that makes me more excited about film and video and photography and all this. I like all of this new technology where you're able to deliver a product differently. The GH5 was revolutionary, but it's getting to a point where like I'm not that excited about the new cameras and the new phones, and like all this stuff seems very minimal. What am I
feel
going to
like
do with 8K?
The GH5 is almost flawless in every way except for autofocus while recording. That's like the only. If they came out with the GH6,
Low light.
Okay, good point.
They have the GH5S, but it doesn't have the stabilization. But I would hope the next camera, the GH6, could combine those two. That would be amazing.
If it was the exact same camera, but it just had just as good of autofocus as Sony and Canon, I'd be like, hell yeah, like we're buying all these. And we have gotten along fine with these. We never use autofocus while filming. But if it was reliable and I could hold something out and the camera could focus on it and then I come back and it grabs our face, that would be super cool.
Matthew Garcia, you're dead to me. SLR Lounge has a pretty good review of the RF mount lens. It's for the R5. Let's not even talk about SLR Lounge. Am I dressed like Pi? I saw Pi on Facebook the other day, and he had these ridiculous headphones, and he had this beanie, and I was like, look at Pi trying to look all cool and hip like it's freezing
You
outside.
cannot look cool with those headphones. Those are like his $1,500 Sennheiser headphones or whatever. They look so stupid. I don't care how good they sound. That's one of the dumbest products I've ever seen. There's no way it needs to be that big to sound good. There's no way. I think they just had some marketing plan, and they were like, listen, these audiophiles
Dude, I'm gonna make. I
don't
want
fit."
headphones that are like cover my head.
Yeah, it needs to be like a helmet. It's ridiculous. So, this Kira James says, I just want to say you guys are doing a really good job. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Modern American Pro. You've said you think that the economy will get worse. How much worse? Long lines at Starbucks or food lines from the Great Depression?
I want to believe that we are innovative enough now with technology and with all the accomplishments we've had in 100 years that the stuff that we saw with the Spanish flu and with the Great Depression are not possible here in America. Now, I think really bad things. I want to talk to my buddy David, who's in Uganda, to see how things are going there. But I think it can get pretty bad. I mean, you're seeing the lines for these food banks already.
So, I need to double check this number because it was so insane that I don't want to get this wrong. But I saw this video today on CNN that was some food organization. What are you laughing at?
This comment. I am dressed like the gnome of Auschwitz. I don't even know if that needs to be brought to attention.
Dude, I love live videos. I feel like live videos are so much better than doing like hours of editing. We get to just talk and have a good time and laugh, and then it's just done.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm going to have a hard time finding this video or article, but somebody who was in charge of this, it was kind of like the World Health Organization, but basically this organization feeds hungry people around the world. Somebody needs to find this link and find this number. But this guy was basically saying that he is worried that we very soon will have, it was like 300,000 people starving, and then they put the word in daily. And after watching the video.
Worldwide?
Yeah, worldwide.
Okay.
Worldwide.
I was going to say,
Now-
if that's the United States,
now-
that doesn't seem realistic.
I think because I watched the video, and
We have like 250 dying daily already.
I think currently we're at like 160,000 160 million people in the world are in need of food or
Okay.
something like that. Now, when I see the word starving, I think
Death.
to death.
Yeah.
But maybe that just means you're hungry. I don't know. But the way this title was written and the way the article was written, it was like 300 million people are going to be dying daily. Now, I might be wrong. Maybe it was 30 million, maybe it was 3 million. I don't remember what the number was. But it seemed so insane. But basically what he's saying is all of these supply lines are shutting down all over the world. Maybe there's enough Starbucks coffee at your local Starbucks. It's not going to be a problem for a while. But these organizations that are bringing rice to these remote villages in Africa are no longer able to get the rice. And if they are able to get the rice, they're no longer to find a truck driver who's willing to drive it, because like we saw in Nigeria, people are running at the trucks and like beating up the driver and stealing the rice out of the truck. So nobody wants to do that anymore. So he's like, there is about to be a global problem with food that no one is talking about. It seemed really serious.
Yeah.
The headline maybe made it more serious than it actually will be, but sounds pretty scary.
Yeah, I think we're in no man's land. I'm starting to hear now on the news people talking about, I think it was Sanjay Gupta last night, they were talking about the second wave. And maybe we talked earlier in this podcast about the waves, like people start going out and then the death numbers will go up, so we have to go back in. We're not talking about that wave. We're talking about the summer, it gets better, and then come fall, it comes back. And I think historically, I don't know this for certain, but I think historically coronaviruses do not mutate as much as influenza, so maybe that's a good thing. But I'm starting to now hear people in mainstream media really trying to like prepare and plant the seed that this is not going to be over anytime soon. I hope Kristen is not watching right now, because she's kind of obsessed with wedding planning, and she has several of her friends getting married, and so we have this amazing wedding in Ecuador coming up, and in May she's trying to still have the bachelor party. Her friend that's getting married in Ecuador is trying to have her bachelor party in May, and I'm thinking, there's going to be no bar, nothing's going to be open in May. We're talking like in a few weeks, 3 weeks. That, like, at some point, Kristen, you have to be like, I'm not going to go to that.
Yeah.
I'm choosing not to go
Where
to
was that taking place?
Middle of May,
No, what location?
Miami, Florida.
Okay.
But
And
anyway,
luckily that's close by.
yeah, so I'm like, you can buy a flight very last minute and still get there. But I'm seeing, she's watching all these Instagrammers who are talking about having to cancel their wedding and everything. And it's getting pretty serious where I don't know that concerts are going to happen anytime this year. We were talking about concerts a few days ago, and somebody who's a drum tech for one of the bands that I'm a fan of said that there's a very good chance that's going to be canceled, but at the moment they're not canceling anything until a month out. And I don't know that we're prepared mentally for all of those things to be shut down. For bars, for parties, for weddings, for any kind of major events, sporting events. Like,
That's
there may
the
not
thing,
be.
man. And I feel like so many people are like, you want to have your wedding more than you want people to live? And it's like, no, but of course not. Like, you'd give up your wedding to save lives. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't know that I
but-
want my wedding if everyone has to wear masks and not have a good time.
Right, but the idea is like, how many people are surviving because of the obscene amount of money that you're about to waste on this wedding? You know what I mean? Like if you're about to drop tens of thousands of dollars in a single day, how much money is that spread out into the economy that then those people go out and buy food and pay rent and everything like that?
Well, one thing we're thinking of is, luckily right now I only have like deposits on a few people, And we were in the wedding industry, so I know how that works, but I'm just thinking it's fine because we're definitely getting married at this venue. We're definitely getting married in Miami. Like, everything we've decided is pretty permanent. If the date has to change, it's not a big deal. But there's a lot of people out there who are saying, hey, I can't get married where I wanted. I'm going to change my wedding to a completely different town, maybe where I live now. And from 100, 200 people, whatever your wedding is, it's now going to be 10, 20. And they're losing all of these deposits and retainers. And then the vendors, they're losing the other part of the retainers and contracts that they are hoping to get. So all of this money is being wasted and lost. And it's just scary to think that, if your wedding was in a month, you may have already paid everything. Like,
Yeah.
you already sent out your final checks.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel very lucky that I only have a few $1,000s invested in the wedding. And they're all vendors, and the venue and everything is going to stay the same. So I'm not too worried about it. And I just keep telling Kristen, we need to just just chill and be patient to see how things play out.
Yeah, there's nothing that can be gained by worrying or dwelling on it or whatever. Just
But
relax.
I'm realizing with my parents thinking about closing their dental practice, with Kristen and I thinking about our wedding, like with people wanting to make crazy moves in the stock market, we both have been there. Human nature is not at ease with sitting and holding tight.
No, it's not.
We want to make quick decisions and feel like everything is, you need to make a quick move, and I don't think that's healthy either. So it's been challenging in that way.
I agree. I saw one funny comment a second ago, and it said global warming is caused by Sony cameras shooting in 4K. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anything else photography related that you've been thinking about recently, Patrick?
Here's somebody says they want our wives in the podcast. And I say this gets brought up every now and then on every video.
Yeah.
And maybe Katie would love to be on the podcast.
She wouldn't love it, but she said she would.
Kristen is like, I don't want to do it. I don't know what to talk about.
Katie's very afraid that she's going to come off as like insensitive or out of touch because
She's
she
just baking
doesn't
and cooking.
know anything that's going. I'm not sure Katie's happiness level has dropped 1% since all of this happened.
Yeah.
She's even said things like, it's been really nice, like not having all of my social obligations. And I'm like, what? It's so depressing.
Maybe there. I don't know if our audience is right for this, but maybe there's an outlet for people wanting to know how do you cope and how do you get to that level. Maybe it's just isolation.
Maybe. Like, I don't know how good Katie is on camera, but for some people that's kind of entertaining. It's like, you ask her questions and she's like, I don't know, and maybe people would like that. I would imagine Kristen would be somewhat the same way.
I think they would be super entertaining, but.
The thing is,
can they carry on like we can just spitball left and right nonstop?
I think it's one, a learned talent from years of making videos, but two, I think it's a comfort level. Katie's only been in one video with me ever before, and it was her critique the community, and she was silent for the first 20 minutes. Like I was only getting one word answers out of her. But then she became comfortable, and it was great.
Well, with enough practice, you can literally wear anything on camera and feel totally comfortable with it.
That's right.
Even if you look like a...
Maybe we need to get him drunk.
I thought about making a drink here, but, I've been drinking a lot less, too. Maybe, I don't know if it's a health thing.
I've been drinking more than I've ever had in
my
life. Yeah.
See, I feel like I'm less active, and I kind of, I just ordered pizzas tonight. I felt like I'm not eating as... On one hand, I'm eating better because we're making more food here, but on the other hand, I'm also eating junk throughout the day. So I was just like, you know what? Like, let's just lay off the alcohol.
That's
You're drinking
good.
more. I mean, look at you over here.
It's just habit for me. Like, I would say normally I might have 2 drinks a week, maybe. I've been drinking, maybe on average, 1, sometimes 2 drinks every night. It's like, especially the nights that I'm editing. It's just become this bad habit.
That's the last time I drink, because then I become slower.
Yes, it's very frustrating. I'm trying to edit, and it's like I feel sluggish, and I'm forgetting keys and stuff. So it's not a good habit. But.
Oh, plate of hot barbecue ribs on the table. That would be good. You know what I found out today that was depressing? And no one else will be able to relate to this. But I've started hearing about some restaurants closing in Charleston. Tattooed Moose. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Charleston. Tattooed Moose is like a hidden gem that has also been on all the shows, diners, dives, and drive-ins or whatever.
Something like that.
They're giving up. They're ending their lease and they're out.
You know what I hope Tattooed Moose does?
It just makes a food truck, or
yeah, something like that. I hope
maybe they started that way. I don't know if that's true, but
they just downsized a little bit because
their menu's too good.
Their menu is really good, and it's super unique as well. They have duck sandwiches and stuff.
This duck sandwich, which I would argue is one of the best sandwiches in all of Charleston. It's that good. And people are always like, I'm always saying, you want to go to Tattooed Moose and try the sandwich?
Yeah.
Maybe. It's a duck sandwich, and they're like, duck?
Yeah, duck.
And then they go, and they're like, that's unbelievable. You can only eat half of it, because it's the thick sourdough bread, and it's so good.
I know, it's amazing. And then they had this, Thanksgiving leftover turkey sandwich thing that was also amazing. Obviously, you can tell this is when I used to eat meat. I admit, it still tastes amazing. I'd love to eat it right now, but...
It just scares me to think, living in Puerto Rico, there's still so many things I desire when I go back and visit my sister in Charleston. I go on a food binge.
Yeah.
It's like a food vacation, and I'm like, man, there's 4 barbecue places I love, amazing seafood restaurants, my favorite steak restaurant, maybe my favorite meal ever is the steak restaurant.
Yep.
And I'm just starting to now realize, and I knew it's coming, but the sadness of some of these places going out of business forever. And you hope maybe the guy will start it back up in a year or two, and we will still have that. But what if we don't? You know, what if all the restaurants that you've come to love are suddenly gone, and you're left with like Impossible Burgers?
Well, so the restaurant that closed that I was really sad about in Charleston. This is so offensive. Charleston's like a food mecca. I used to skateboard to Mod Pizza that was on Calhoun Street.
Okay.
And I don't know if you guys have eaten at Mod Pizza, but it's like a fast food type restaurant. But
It's a
kind of like,
chain?
yeah, it's
Oh,
like
okay.
it's like a Subway kind of like they have a million ingredients and you kind of tell them what you want on the pizza and they throw it in the oven and within like 4 minutes you have an amazing pizza. It might be one of my favorite pizzas ever, but it's just a chain. They have them at like airports and stuff now. And that closed. Like the last time we visited Charleston, it was closed and I remember thinking, there's nothing left for me here. There's no reason for me to return.
Well, you know what I think is closed permanently?
What?
I can't pull up an article, but I'm pretty sure it's true. I think Dell's Uptown is gone forever.
Really?
I think they may have closed a few months ago. I don't know if it was from coronavirus, but like
How is that possible? That was a
I think
really
she
popular...
just gave up on it.
Why would
I
she
mean,
do
you need
that?
to find out for certain.
She had 3 locations. Why would she give up when, like, that place was always packed every afternoon? That was, like, Dell's Uptown, if you guys ever visit Charleston. It's a vegan, vegetarian place. One of my
After
favorite
closing Dell's
restaurants.
Uptown, owner set sights on new wellness cafe.
All right. I mean, she'll do something else. Her food's too good. We got a message here from Amanda Roy. Thank you, guys. These videos have been keeping me company while I solo quarantine. Will you guys save these live chats? Yeah, we didn't save the first one just because it was kind of a test, but we will save this one. And then we've got another message from Steve Robertson. Lee, did you re-up your stash of Nutter Butter cookies? No, but now with this $9 donation, I'm going to go and buy... How many Nutter Butters can I buy for $10?
What kind of question is that? I don't know.
That's a super important question.
What's a package? Like $3? So
I don't
you probably
know.
buy 3 packages, and how many are in a package? Well, you got me to answer that without me wanting to answer that.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I'm going to re-up my Nutter Butter stash right after this video.
So somebody just gave me a restaurant recommendation. K Pezcow? How do you say that?
Capes Cow?
Said it's the best ceviche in San Juan. And he is asking, what is our favorite restaurants in Puerto Rico? And by far, my favorite restaurant, I've only eaten there once, is Marmalade. That's in Old San Juan, which is kind of a touristy area.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great restaurants there, but Marmalade, oh my gosh, it's kind of like a crazy multiple course meal, like 3 to 6 courses.
Yeah.
And it's rather expensive. It's going to be like $100 a person.
Yeah.
But really good food.
Yeah, really, really unique dining experience there. I've had a few really cool experiences at that restaurant. I'm trying to think of where else I've eaten in Puerto Rico that I really like. We really like that Indian place in San Juan. I don't know, I don't know if it's worth a stop.
It's
if
called
you're
like,
visiting.
is it Bombay?
Bombay.
Bombay and something else?
Yeah.
It's like Thai and Indian in one.
Yeah, it's really good. It's in kind of a sketch area, though.
We have a place called Buns in Caguas, which is like Five Guys,
Yeah,
but it's
like
the
fast food.
it's the only thing here that's like Five Guys. So if you want like a more decent burger,
Yeah.
that's the place to go. I'm a big fan of the PF Chang's.
Oh, you know what place I really liked? What was that place that we went for your birthday?
Bottles.
Bottles. That was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
We're giving all these recommendations when like nobody's capable of flying right now.
Here's a question for you, Patrick. Who's taking pictures at your wedding?
I was going to steal a play out of the Lee Morris playbook. And
A cheapskate move?
well, I want to pay people, but like I'm inviting a lot of people that are photographers.
Yeah.
And we get a photographer with our venue, but I looked him up. He's not great. But he's like $700, and if I don't want him, I can get the $700 back. But part of me is just like
For $700?
For $700, maybe I'll just have him there. But then I'm also thinking, I don't want him to feel in competition with other people. I don't want there to be a weird vibe, so maybe it's better just to not have him there. So I was thinking, what if I have some of my photography friends that shoot weddings and just say, hey, maybe I'll book your flight to the wedding, because you probably want to come party anyway, and I want you just to shoot the ceremony. And then, or maybe I get them their accommodations, you know, something to make it fair.
Yeah.
And then the idea would just be, I have multiple people shooting the wedding, but maybe the pose pictures one person takes, the ceremony's another one. Maybe a friend who has nothing else to do in Miami would just want to hang out with Kristen while they get ready and take pictures of them, you know. So I'm trying to figure that out. I don't think I'm going the route of hiring one photographer to shoot the whole wedding. Pi Jerza said if, you know, he might shoot some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm like over weddings. I just feel like they're kind of fun for a second maybe, but the idea of photographing aspects of your wedding but not having the pressure of like letting someone down or doing something wrong, I would love to take pictures at your wedding. And I would imagine I need to be in parts of the wedding.
Bombay and Bangkok.
Bombay and Bangkok.
Robert Moreno's in here. So.
Hey, Robert, what's up, buddy?
Hope you're doing well. He lives in Caguas. He's been on many of our videos. He's our tour guide here, which we haven't been out with Robert in like a year. Like
What? Has it been that long?
I got sick and had to go back to Charleston, have that surgery, and I don't think we've met up with him since then. And I'm like, I'm itching to get out and like see some stuff. But we legally can't do that, so we're kind of in a bind.
We got somebody named Victor in here who says Lee is looking really sexy tonight. I think you're absolutely right, Victor.
I just had something I wanted to talk about, and I cannot remember what it is.
Look at this guy. This guy is smart. He's like, somehow if you write like at Fstoppers, it like highlights Fstoppers.
Yeah.
And so he has highlighted Fstoppers at the beginning and end so that I see his question. It says, Fstoppers is the best photo channel out there, but what are all of your favorite recommendations next to Fstoppers? Do you have a...
To be honest, when I have the chance to watch and scour YouTube, I watch anything other than photography. So I will give some recommendations.
Okay.
They're not... I like JHS Guitar Pedals. He has a really clever show. No, I'm telling you, look up JHS, even if you're thinking about creating a YouTube channel. What is great is that he makes custom guitar pedals, but he never shows his own pedals in the show. He'll do like the best flange pedals, and he will show everyone else's pedals, and he promotes all the competition, and very rarely, maybe like once out of every 10 videos, he'll show one of his pedals. And I'm like, this is just such a clever way to do business.
I mean, it's a clever way to do business, but I'm a guitar player and I don't give a crap about a pedal, so I don't see how that's going to make...
I don't know. You should watch one video. He did one video with Sean Brock. Sean Brock used to be the cook in Charleston. He started Husk, and he started, what's the taco place that we like to go to? Monero or something?
Something like that.
Anyway, he moved to Nashville, and then he brought Husk up there. And this guy, the chef, I never would have thought, he has a huge pedal collection. So he goes to his house and gets to see all his pedals. And, you know, if you're just, you got to be a guitar player to be interested in it, but maybe you would like it because it's music production. You get to hear all these crazy sounds and see how these things that are very similar. It's kind of like if you did a shootout with 3 cameras. I guess anyone who's not a photographer doesn't care about that. But...
Well... I don't know. I think you could make that more interesting than guitar pedals.
He plays them all, and now he's got a band, and they play the drums and stuff.
I understand, but everyone takes pictures, so people could be a little interested in a photo shoot-off.
I think it just comes down to production value. Is it entertaining? And he's pretty entertaining. And then it comes down to, like, you know, if you like looking at pictures or you like listening to music, JHS pedals. Just look that up on YouTube, especially if you're into music production and definitely if you're into guitar playing.
Listen to this. Lee versus Pi for Patrick's wedding. That's an interesting idea.
Well, we were debating if Pi did some portraits at the wedding. We had this argument about tips. I don't know if you want to revisit that or not. But
sure, who cares?
We were just acting, we were asking ourselves, like, what would we pay Pi as a favor for shooting some portraits at the wedding? And the idea came up from Kristen. She was like, what if we paid him like $500? And I was like, It just seems so weird when Pi's average wedding is like $20,000 to $100,000, and I'm gonna give him like $500 when that alone probably is $5,000 to do a small little session with him, you know?
Yeah, but Pi's a close friend, so he should do it for free. I mean, if you bought Pi's flight out, he'd be thrilled.
Yeah, somebody knows JHS pedals. So, see, I'm not too far off.
Couldn't Patrick write off part of his wedding if Lee and Pi had a competition for the best wedding photo and you guys video it? There's probably some truth to that.
Well, we haven't talked about this in a while, and we can't give it away here, but we have been talking about making a new product. And this product could debut at my wedding. And so there is this element of filming.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now. What's
You
your
don't know?
product?
It's like it deals with an iPad and has to do with.
Oh, I actually got an email from them the other day, and they were like, "Hey, we're putting this on hold due to the virus." So,
You have to tell me there's bad news live on camera?
sorry,
there goes that part of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
I thought you were talking about the other products that we were making with.
Yeah, that's on hold now too.
Yeah.
When are we going to start filming Photographing the World 4? We already did, bro. Photographing the 4 is up on fstoppers.com/store. I think we're up to 5 now, and I don't know when we're going to be able to start the production on that.
I love how Patrick completely sidestepped Lee's honest offer to shoot his wedding. Love right there.
Well, you're going to be in the wedding, so how can you shoot it if you're in the wedding?
Yeah, I'm the best man. Am I the best man?
I think so. It's you
Well,
or somebody
you're
else.
not
It's you or somebody else.
Oh, thanks. It's me or
No, you're
somebody
the
else.
best man. Am I revealing that to you on camera for the first time?
You haven't said it to me.
Oh, can we get like, is there like an emoji button where like the hearts come up?
I think you can chat right now as Fstoppers.
No, but I want like the feed to have
Oh,
hearts.
I
and
gotcha.
stuff.
What is your favorite place to eat in Charleston? My favorite place used to be Hall's Chop House. I really like it still, but you know, obviously it's a steak restaurant. I'm a vegetarian now, so I can't fully enjoy it, but that's always been my favorite.
Somebody says Patrick's getting married for the tax benefits. I used to make that argument with you, that I'm losing all these benefits, and you had such a good response.
They're like, yeah, you might save a little bit in taxes, but the amount of money that I'm spending double every time I do something
Yeah.
is not the amount of savings that I get. Lee, are you still going with the chili idea you had? I don't know what the chili idea I had.
You're going to make hot sauce.
Okay.
The hot sauce idea.
Okay, yeah.
That's on hold too.
Yeah, but I'm doing that. I'm making a hot sauce company.
Somebody asks if I have the Axe Effects. That is the like digital simulator for guitar. You just plug it. They make a pedal, but I think they also make software, and you can just plug it in. And I mean, this stuff sounds perfect now.
So why watch pedal videos? You can do it digitally.
I'm old school. I like knobs. I've had these processors, and it's software. If you want to change the delay, you got to go into a parameter and scroll 5 times over, and then it drives me crazy. I want 4 or 5 knobs, and I want to just reach down there.
You're like the grandpa who refuses to shoot digital because in my day we shoot film and somebody else
used to be able to
processes
make
it.
this argument because the analog sounded better. You can't make that argument anymore, and so now I still like the old school pedals.
Where are we going for the next Photographing the World 4? It's not Photographing the World 4. I believe it's going to be Photographing the World 5.
You're behind on the comments, bro.
But you didn't say it would be nice to have you in Peru. Yeah, I don't think we have any plans to go to Peru. We were hoping to film at least a portion of it in Japan, maybe Greece, but who knows now? Who knows? Lee, rank all the Disney parks. So, that's a hard one. I haven't been to many of them in Asia. I was very excited to film Photographing the World 5 in Japan because Katie and I were going to spend a meaningful amount of time at Disney World Tokyo Disney, and Disney Sea. I hear Disney Sea is the greatest theme park in the world.
Sea or like SEA?
I think it's SEA.
It's like SeaWorld?
I think so. And I was super pumped, and Photographing the World 5 got canceled or postponed. I can deal with that. I cannot deal with missing out on Disney World.
Does everybody know, maybe we've talked about this in a Critique the Community, your love and obsession with Disney theme parks?
I like
It's
Disney.
insane. Like, we share the same YouTube channel. It's like the Fstoppers channel.
Yep.
And every time I'm in the gym or anytime I get on YouTube,
Yep.
it'll be like recommendations on how to collect all the little pennies that you run through
I
the
don't
And I'm
watch
like,
those.
why do you care
I
about this?
don't watch
It's like
those.
10 hacks how to eat cheap at Disney World. And then the next video is 10 hacks how to eat at the fanciest restaurants you didn't even know about in Disney. And I mean, you've gone to
That's
Disney, you've gone to like a Disney park. How many have you been to in the last 18 months?
I mean, 3. Like, I went to Disneyland, Disney World, and Disney World Paris.
But then you've been to Disney World, Florida, like twice in that 18 months.
Maybe. But when I go for 1 or 2 days max, usually just 1 day.
He plays it down like 1 day max. In that 1 day, what are you doing?
I go to all the parks available in that 1 day.
He's like, I know when the rope drop is, and you got to go to Animal Kingdom at 7 in the morning because you
true.
can actually get in 1 hour early.
It's true.
And then you do this, and you can do it all. And I'm like, this
You
sounds
would be
exhausting.
lucky to go with me to Disney World
That sounds-
because you could spread it out over the course of days and spend thousands of dollars, or come with me and boom, for $180 we're gonna hit it all in 1 day.
I just don't know why a grown-ass man has to go to Disney World more than once
I'm young
every
at heart.
5 years.
I'm young at heart. What can I say? I don't know why a grown-ass man watches pedal videos when you can do it on a computer.
That's what I do. I watch the pedal videos on a computer.
But you don't need the pedals when you have a computer that can make the sounds. That's what I'm saying.
Don't even get into it. Lee secretly has collected 7,000 Epcot pins. What's your favorite restaurant at Epcot? He has so many good memories at all of them.
No.
That he's like,
No.
I can't choose.
No, I don't have very high expectations of Epcot.
That's good because the food's not that good.
I also don't really like Disney food. It's funny because there's the Disney food blog, which is a massive YouTube channel and blog where they just talk about, like, look at this new popsicle that's in the shape of Pluto. And I just think most of the food at Disney is really bad or overpriced, but the best restaurants I've eaten at are in the luxury hotels at Disney, and they're expensive. But if you eat like California Grill and stuff, and then when the Magic Kingdom has the fireworks show and they pipe in the music and you can go outside during your meal and you get to stand on the balcony and watch it from a distance, it's magical. People keep asking what gear we are using to stream this, and it's kind of a convoluted system. And I'm definitely going to do a video where I explain the setup, especially once we have a better setup. But
we have to make it look a little nicer because we have like Apple boxes with computers and speakers
it looks
and
ridiculous over there.
Atomoses, and it looks.
Here's the basic idea, though. We have a Panasonic GH5 that's filming us right now. We have an HDMI cable that's running out of that, and it's going into an HDMI capture card that is plugged in with USB-C to a laptop. And you're going to say, well, what capture card is it? I don't know. It's some no-name brand off Amazon. I think it was $115.
Why do you need a capture card? Why can the HDMI out of the laptop not send and receive, and like, couldn't it do it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. It's like they can only go one way. So I've got the capture card, and the capture card is receiving video and audio. So I can go into OBS on the laptop and set that up. But the problem is, if we have our mics going into the Panasonic, I'm going to be in the right channel and Patrick's going to be in the left channel. That's going to be super annoying to like when I talk, I'm on one side and you're on the other. So we have our mics running into a Zoom F6. You can look all this up on B&H. And that's mixing down the audio into a single channel. And then we have a headphone jack running back into the GH5 that is then sending the audio and video signal into the HDMI cable.
Ideally, the hot shoe adapter that sits on the GH5 that allows us to plug in 2 XLR mics into it would have an option to make channel 1 and 2 both stereo.
Mix it down.
Mix it down, but instead you have the option of having channel 1 going into left and the right, or channel 1 going into left, channel 2 going into the right. But there just needs to be one more switch that allows you to make both of them go in. It wouldn't make any sense other than the streaming. You'd probably always want your audio separated out, but.
Right. All right, let's just do a couple more questions and get out of here. I feel like we are probably more entertained than the people
Have you been
it.
watching the number? Like, we're at 688 people right now. Has that been consistent, or is
I think
it going
we're going
down?
up a little bit. I think we were around 500 an hour ago.
Yeah.
So
I think our chats just got longer. I would like this to continue to go the way that they've been going, where we keep everything concise with what are we dealing with in terms of consuming news in this lockdown, and then at the end it kind of becomes.
we just waste our lives
it
at the end.
Because it can't be this the whole time. Otherwise, you'll never want to revisit this years from now.
Right.
Maybe no one will want to revisit this years from now. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. This is just for the live fans asking ridiculous questions and calling Patrick a gnome. Lee, will Disney survive the COVID shutdown? Cruises, parks, movies, all kaput. Apple or Amazon takeover? I mean, the work's already done. I would imagine Disney owns the land. It's not like they've got, mortgage payments on the Magic Kingdom. So I think Disney is going to take a really big hit. I think all stocks are so overpriced right now. I don't know what the heck people are thinking. I think everything's going to drop 50% eventually. Maybe it'll take a year and a half to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think Disney's going to go kaput. I don't even want to think about that. Don't bring me down, bro.
I've seen the comment about me looking like a concentration camp gnome. And I guess now I realize, looking at the video, like, do these look like jail pants or something?
Yeah, you do.
So
You do look like an inmate. When do I think Disney World will reopen? Man, I thought for sure when they closed, like, all right, 30 days, and they're going to be back up. But I keep reading these news stories, and these studies are coming out, and people are saying we need to have, we'll get back to work, but we need to have social distancing for the next year and a half. I don't know how that's going to work with Disney, but maybe it just means there's going to be a lot of hand washing and masks at Disney. The masks will suck. That's going to be such a bummer if you have to go to Disney World wearing a mask.
Yeah, but isn't Disney Japan already like that?
Yeah, maybe
How
they
many
do that
people wear
already.
masks over there? Like 5% all the time?
Yeah,
If you're just sick, it's like a courtesy thing.
yeah.
So maybe it'll just be like that times.
100?
Yeah, 100%. Anything else? I'm starting to get a little tired.
I'm seeing lots of comments that say our live stream looks really nice. That makes me proud. So many people were like, just go live with the webcam on your computer or whatever. And I'm like, I cannot do it. It blinds me when I see people's webcam footage on YouTube. And then the audio, like, we do so much work to make sure the audio sounds good in all of our videos. We're adding compressors and adding noise reductions and all these things that we cannot do live. So I would imagine there's a little hiss going on right now. There's some noise coming from like all the electronics that we have down there. It's a long story, but then we also have AC running and a fan running. Usually I'm doing a lot of work to cut all of that out. So I'm trying to still keep the production value high.
I found your article. Coronavirus pandemic will cause global famines of biblical proportions.
Yeah, that's it.
UN warns.
Yeah,
It says the
biblical
world is facing multiple famines of biblical proportions. Are they acknowledging that there's biblical famines or something? In just a matter of months. This will push an additional 130 million people to the brink of starvation.
Yeah.
It's very ambiguous.
But there was something that said daily somewhere, and maybe they've removed it now because that is outrageous.
About 36 countries in a worst-case scenario will sink into this stark reality. 10 of those countries already have more than 1 million on the verge of starvation.
Patrick has dressed up with the short shorts and now an Auschwitz gnome. Lee should dress up as his favorite Disney character for an episode. I would if I had the outfit. I don't have the outfit. You should do a critique the community on sports and or concert photography. Been there, done that, bro. We have both of those. Google it. That'll come right up. But I'm sure we'll do it again.
One thing I'm going to plead to all of our fans that are on this live podcast right now. My iPad died while It was plugged in.
It's too much energy.
So I've been asking you, do you think releasing more than one video per day is actually going to hurt our channel?
Yeah.
Because today maybe we have this plus 2 other videos.
Yeah.
Have we ever released 3 videos?
No, we've never have.
We have a lot of stuff waiting to be released. And so a lot of people have been like, man, I'm gone until you guys start making new photography related videos. Well,
Yeah.
today I released a video on compositing with a single light.
How's it doing?
It's got like 1,500 views. And so I'm asking you guys to watch the video if you truly love our channel for the photography content. Give it
Yeah.
thumbs up and subscribe to us. But I'm just curious to see, like, a lot of what we're doing is testing the waters out. And I'm curious to see if multiple uploads in a day hurt videos, which it seems like maybe it does. But then the photography content that we're known for, like, it's not doing all that well. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to make of it. Some other weird things is maybe our channel's doing really well because we've been making these 1-hour videos every day and fewer people are watching it. But when you watch that much content, it's like a retention rate. Like there's weird analytics and things that have been happening to our channel through this coronavirus series that has never happened in the history of our channel, which is good. But then in other ways, you know, we're off topic and, you know, everything's being marked as coronavirus. So somebody, I think in the comments, was saying, your videos are being hurt because it's coronavirus related. Well, we have the photography video out today, so I don't know.
Maybe that's just being hurt because it sucks, and you should have made a better
It's
video.
possible too, but at least I'm trying.
Lee, are you a Patio 33 member? I don't think it's called Patio 33. I thought it was called Club 33. There's this like insider secret club at Disney World,
Yeah.
and I think it's something like 45 grand or something to get into this club. And there's a waiting list. Like you can't even do it if you have 45 grand.
You're talking about this like you aren't already a member. So there's this other club,
No, I'm not a
and there's a
member.
waiting list. I think it's like 45
No,
grand to join.
I'm not a member. No, I've looked all
What
in.
do you get to do? You get to meet all the characters in one setting?
I think, yeah, you get the meet and greet.
It's like the meet and greet with all of them in one room, and you're like, yes.
No, I think you get some behind the scenes access and stuff, but the main thing, which isn't
Some
that valuable,
behind-the-scenes access.
is like there are secret restaurants in some of the parks
Yeah.
that you cannot find. It's like they're behind hidden doors and stuff that if you're a member of this club, you can get into, and it's the fanciest restaurants in the park. But I don't think you get free food. I think you pay the 45 grand and you get into the restaurant, and then you still have to pay for the food.
Man,
So
we're at 708 live viewers now.
we're on a roll, baby. How's your vegetarian journey been? It's been fine. It's been fine. At times I miss meat, but you know, after a few months of being vegetarian, I don't even really think about it anymore. And now when I eat meat, I can still, in some cases, I can still appreciate like how good it tastes and everything, but I just keep thinking like, man, I'm chewing on some animal right now. This is kind of gross. So
Oh, Mini Buns is here. Mini Buns is a user who has used an avatar of like your face doing this really weird thing.
yeah.
And if you click on his channel, he has one video and it's like from that camera angle and it like zooms into your feet.
Dude.
I don't know. I laugh every
He's
time
a
I see him leave
stalker.
a comment
He's a
because his
stalker.
avatar is so funny.
Lee, why don't you use Twitter? I don't know. I just don't really have anything to say. I don't really care what other people say. I am interested in what Elon Musk says, and I'm interested in what Donald Trump says because they both say crazy stuff.
You would be.
But yeah, I just don't do Twitter. I also don't do Instagram. I don't care to see other people's square pictures. And
I
I'm like,
use Twitter every day, but I don't post to it. I use it because you can see what's trending. Like right now, Bikers for Trump is trending. Could be an interesting story. Anderson Cooper is trending. So while you talk, maybe I'll see what Anderson Cooper is getting reamed over the coals about.
theme parks are opening here in Denmark next month. Anything is possible. I want to believe you.
The Las
Mikkel.
Okay, here's what's happening with Anderson Cooper. The Las Vegas mayor is trying to justify why she's reopening casinos. And she says, this isn't China, this is Las Vegas, after he showed her a graphic of how coronavirus could spread in a restaurant in China.
Dude,
That was a commercial I saw
might
the
go
other
to
night.
Vegas.
Vegas had this like drone shot just over the city, and it was like, we're waiting for you when we reopen, but
Okay.
until then, know that we are behind you with your stay-at-home practices, and it was like this campaign for the city of Las Vegas.
I have seen more comments on this thread about a beard growing contest than anything else.
I started that. I thought I will just grow my beard until this is all over. How foolish was I? And then it got to the point where it's so hot here, but then Kristen was like, you got to get rid of that. So she won. She when the girlfriend, fiance, wife says, you got to shave the beard, it's like, you're going to shave the beard.
I grow it out until it becomes annoying, and then I shave it off. That's like what I do. And it becomes annoying pretty quickly. When it starts going into my mouth, I don't like it. So I did a big beard once in my life on Photographing the World.
3, 2.
I don't even know, 1 or 2.
When you did the bungee jump, you had like this crazy looking thing.
Yeah, and it was so gross, and I'm like eating it and stuff, and just getting food in it. It was disgusting. How long is Fstoppers planning on staying in Puerto Rico? I don't know. We were talking about that today. You planning an escape route, Patrick?
Every day. I'm just gonna get out of the bar, just bust out, and run down the street.
Dressed like this.
Dressed like this. Be like, get me on a plane, man.
I mean, I'm
Get
excited.
me on a plane.
I'm excited to leave Puerto Rico soon, just to like go see something else. I'm tired of this lockdown, but I don't know. I figure I'll be here at least for another 2 years. But every time I talk about moving, my wife gets so upset. She loves it here so much. I'm gonna have a hard time leaving.
Will there be an Art Meets Architecture 4?
I bet something will happen with Mike Kelly. Especially now, all of his clients have dried up. He's probably running out of money.
He's hobbling around.
Yep.
Resorted just playing Dave Matthews covers. That's all he does now.
That's right. This is substantially exact same quality as your published videos. No, it is not. No, it is not. It's so painful to hear that. It's like people don't even appreciate all the effort that goes into editing, exporting, uploading, waiting for it. Oh, look, copyright strike. Let me re-export it. Let me re-upload it. It's 5 hours later, new copyright strike.
Well, and the thing is, I think too, a lot of people may just play those videos in the background, and they're not even watching.
Yeah.
But then there'll be times where like I get bored just cutting between the camera angles and putting news stories in, and then I'll find something where like the other day there was a sequence where we cut to a news story, and then we just look at each other, and I think you were waiting for me to like talk about something.
Yep.
And I just cut it back and forth like this awkward silence.
Yeah.
Or there was one time where what was the word? We were talking about this the other day. The loan forgiveness.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh, that. And you're like, no. And I was like, oh, you mean no. Oh, that, no. And if you just listen to it, you probably don't even notice it. But if you watch the edit.
We're putting a lot of work in.
I had to put a head explosion in the other day.
Yeah, I know. Like, where do you find the explosion? And how do you get it on there? Like, it takes time.
More time than you think.
Lee, are you still looking for someone from China to interview on the show? Yes, I am, and I apologize.
Yeah, where did all of your guests go to?
There's probably a few people that have emailed me from Taiwan, and I haven't gotten back to you guys yet. That is totally my fault. My mind has been elsewhere. I'm going to email you guys tomorrow, and we'll figure out a time to interview you. I do still need someone who lives currently in China in a major city to email me at lee@fstoppers.com. Do not email me other stuff. You guys are driving me crazy with the links and look into this, Lee, and blah, blah, blah. I'm looking into everything. Don't worry about that.
Somebody says we should switch seats, but I kind of like
I like
seats.
this, man.
Yeah,
I don't want to be.
I thought at first I was like, man, you're in the comfy couch, but now, like, somebody actually wanted to know where to buy this chair.
I know.
Is this West Elm?
Yeah, it's a West Elm chair.
Should I not have given that away?
No, I don't care if somebody buys it. I responded to them and said West Elm.
It's hot in Puerto Rico. Take any ice cream recommendations lately. My favorite ice cream ever is probably Jenny's ice cream. You can get that in Publix, and they have a Jenny's ice cream, or they did, in Charleston. But you can't get that down here. So recently I went to Walmart, and I got this, what kind of milk is it? It's like dairy-free. It's like cashew milk. And I got the banana Foster ice cream. It's pretty good.
And it was vegan?
I don't know about vegan. It was cashew milk.
Okay, so it's not cow. Like, there's no cow milk.
I can't keep up with all that. I look like I'm dressed like I should know.
But it tasted good.
It's pretty good ice cream.
Wow.
Yeah. I might go get a little
I
bit
mean, I'm a
after
Ben
this.
and Jerry's guy myself. Like the Ben and Jerry's cookie dough, I think it's the greatest
Oh,
ice cream in the world.
that's what Kristen bought. It's been disappearing.
I have not been
You haven't been
eating.
eating it, huh? No.
I am not. I steal some of your other food, but not that.
You know what I learned here in Puerto Rico? I thought all things froze at 32 degrees, and if your freezer was just below 32 degrees, it would be frozen. But I learned because our freezer here is like 18 degrees, 22 degrees, it's not cold enough to freeze ice cream. Ice cream actually freezes more solid, way below the freezing point. And I never knew
The freezing
that.
point of water.
Right, right. That's a distinction.
Well, the other problem is I bought icy pops. You know those like plastic things that the kids eat. That you like.
We
And
become so stupid. Like freezing points of ice cream. What is the world getting to?
yeah, what have we become? But our freezer here is not cold enough to freeze the icy pops. So I'm in trouble. Is Peter Hurley actually 6'2"? Yes, he is. He's a tall man.
Are you taller than Peter?
No, I think he's a little taller than me.
Yeah.
Take a day off and release a different video every so often. No, we will not. We're going to continue.
I mean, some of those days I've been a little on edge with all of this, and I'm like tired of editing, and I'm tired of looking up news stories. I'm tired of bad news. I was thinking, like, can I take a break? But then what are you going to do? And then I was like, should we both take a break and make one video for a full week on anything else? But then I got a little distracted, and it's just easy to, like, this is now a routine where it's easier to fall back into this. Where a month ago, this was kind of like a pain in the butt. It was like, man, you got to make new content. But now it's,
well, now anytime,
and now we've made it as easy as possible.
dude, if there was ever a time where both of us didn't want to edit anything, we're like, oh, I don't want to, like, just do a 30-minute live video. It's the easiest thing. People are saying they like it better.
I mean, that's a game changer.
I know.
Have you tried Photoshop on the new iPad Pro? I hate editing anything on an iPad, on any, I don't even like doing it on a laptop. I'm so spoiled now with the dual monitors. I will delay any photo editing, any video editing until I'm back at a workstation. And that's probably the most inefficient way to approach your photography business.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. And then I spend, like I've tried to do it on the plane, and then I get this big Photoshop file back to my computer and I open it and the colors are all off. And I'm like, what was I thinking? That mask is horribly outlined.
Yeah.
It's just, I hate editing
I am
remotely.
convinced that people who, there's a few of these people who claim that their main work computer is an iPad. And I am convinced they are forcing that to happen. Because I love the iPad. It just works so good. It never is crashing. You know, it's just simple. But the reason it works so well is because they've limited 99% of what it can do.
Yeah.
You know, they've locked down everything. You can only open one thing at a time. So on my dual 4K computer, I'm transferring 4 cards at a time. I'm transferring an SSD from our thing over here. I've got 18 windows open in 2 different types of browsers. I've got a YouTube video playing here, and I've got a Netflix video playing here, and I got a alt-tabbed video game in the background. It's like minimized.
Do you think this is normal?
I don't know, but that's the way I compute.
I mean, I think most people have one email, so they just need one browser. But I'm logged into my email. I'm logged into Fstoppers' email. Maybe not to use the email, but to use the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And then I have like Edge, whatever, Windows, Microsoft Edge
Yeah.
for like something else, you know? It's
Yeah.
like some other account. And sometimes I open up that device manager and I'm like, seeing the memories like 70% full. I'm like, is this normal? Is this what normal people do?
Yeah, I guess not. Most people are like, oh, the iPad's fine. And I think for normal web browsing, you're right, it is fine. But I can't make it work. What will Fstoppers do in 1 year when all of your video feed is 99% COVID news? I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, we have somebody watching us on a 4K OLED screen with JBL speakers. So he's getting to appreciate. Is this broadcasting in full 4K?
No. I think
So the software
it's
can't do
probably a very low-res 1080.
that? It can't do 4K? Is that
The little capture card we have
Is
can
not.
just... I think it technically says that it can do 4K, but I don't think so.
But it couldn't upload fast enough,
I don't
right?
think so.
Like that's a limitation
We don't have the
too.
fastest internet down here.
What camera's on the table? You would have loved to have had this when you got that D100, right?
Oh man, yeah, that would have been amazing.
I don't think I had the D200 was my first camera, which was the camera that came out just after the D70. The D70 was like the first Nikon DSLR option that was affordable, because the D100 would have been more expensive than the D70, right? Was the D100 like a $2,000 camera, $1,800 camera?
Maybe it was. It was like, yeah, I think the D70 might have been maybe a better camera in terms of like the sensor and stuff, but I think it was a cheaper build quality camera. The D100 was a more professional, and this was the highest end.
This was the D1H.
Yeah.
And what did that camera mean? It was like better in low light or something?
I think the D1 was the first ever Nikon digital SLR, and it had some problems. And so very soon after releasing the D1, they released a D1H. I don't know what H stands for, maybe high speed. Maybe this was a little faster at shooting or something,
Yeah.
but it's basically the same as the D1. Somebody says the one light video is good, Patrick. So you have one fan out there. Maybe Fstoppers should have its own version of Club 33. I think you're absolutely right. You know what, guys? If anyone wants to join the new Fstoppers Club, do a $100 super chat right now, and you are in the club.
$100. You're setting the bar kind of low.
Well, I know, but we got to get some people into the club first.
You know, we have a guest bedroom for $45,000 a year.
They can stay.
We will buy you a flight to come stay in that extra bedroom.
Just for a weekend.
Yeah, it's got to be a limited time. But
Yeah, so super chat is $45,000, and we will buy you a...
I look like a prison hobo. Does this really like? And is that redundant?
You know
Are you
what I
a
have to
hobo
say,
if
though?
you're in prison?
Like,
do you have a home?
normally the comments on YouTube are just horrible, horrible people who hate us. These are the best comments. Like, the negative comments are funny. Everyone's on topic here. Everyone's being kind, other than mocking Patrick, which I'm all about. So thank you guys. Like, you are brightening my spirits right now. We need more Ritz camera stories. Come up with a Ritz camera story, Patrick. Right now. Right now. Go. You've got to have something on the back burner.
Big smelly guy.
Now this sounds familiar.
Big smelly guy. That was a catchphrase that we could say, and we knew exactly what we were talking about. There was this guy. Man, I hope he's not watching this.
Why would he know?
He would know who he is. There was this guy.
Know who he is?
He was the guy that had the new D3 and the 600 millimeter lens, or the 400 f2.8. Does that lens exist? There's a 200, right? Or there's a 400 2.8.
There might be, yeah.
There's not a 500. So. He'd come in with like, $20,000 in one lens and a camera.
Yeah.
And he'd always have these pictures like birds out in the, and he'd come in camouflage. He'd be wearing like the overalls, like the boots that are probably still wet. And he was super like redneck guy. And I don't mean to say that like in a negative way. Like, I grew up in the South, but like super redneck country bumpkin type of dude with a $20,000 setup. And he'd come in and just talk bird photography with you, but he had the worst bee odor. He had the worst body odor.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to abbreviate my words. And we just knew him as big smelly guy. And it was like,
would he buy stuff from Ritz? Like, would you get the ESPs and stuff? Or he just came to talk?
No, because he had stuff better than anything I'd ever seen. Like, I don't even know if Ritz Camera ever...
couldn't even sell that
I don't even
stuff.
think Ritz Camera sold a 400 millimeter 2.8 lens. Like, that might have been, hey, we need to order that directly from Nikon, because we do not stock that in any store,
Yeah.
But he would have all the bigs, and he'd always bring that in and come in with the camera. I think he had like, you have to carry that over your shoulder, you come in like this.
Yeah.
I don't think he had the monopod, but he just had that, and he would come in like once a month, and he was fun to talk to because he did have cool pictures, but he smelled really bad, but he was really down to earth. I miss some of those characters from. Another good story.
Okay.
Got me on a roll here. My memory's
here we
coming
go.
back.
Here we go.
I can't remember her name, but there was like the wedding photographer that always came in to Ritz Camera.
Yeah.
And she
was she the one that did the album that
no,
you get?
I think that was another one.
Okay,
no, somebody made the classic album. But this woman came in like every week, and she shot 2 weddings every weekend. But she was like a mom. She was like 60, 55 years old. She was older, right? 50, she was probably like in her 50s. And she'd come in and, she just made it sound like she's booking these jobs. That's her business. It's her part-time business. Her husband's probably like a hedge fund manager or something.
Yeah.
You could tell she had money. But her photography, everything was pop-up direct flash. But she was shooting all these weddings, and she knew you shot, and she knew like I worked at the store all the time, so she'd always be asking us about opinions, and you'd have to look at her and be like, "You're getting paid?" And maybe she was like an $800.
But still, that's more than we were making.
She was
at
making
Ritz.
$1,600 a weekend shooting these weddings, you know. But
I remember this guy came in, and a lot of times people just wanted to talk photography, you know, like you said, because the internet wasn't that big back then, you know, especially for old people. They didn't know how to get on forums and talk and stuff. This guy comes in, and he starts telling me about this once-in-a-lifetime photograph that he was able to capture. And you know, he's thinking like about selling it or going pro or whatever. And this dude was serious. This dude was dead serious. And I'm like, all right, let's see the picture. He's like, you want to see this picture? I'm like, let's see the picture. He pulls out this picture, and it's literally like it was either a bee or a butterfly sitting on a flower.
I think it was a butterfly.
It was not like, oh wow, lit and macro and what. It was literally just a shitty snapshot of a butterfly sitting on a flower. And I had to be like, great job, man. And then he's like, you know, like, this doesn't happen every day. And I'm like, it literally happens all day, every day. But I had to, you know, I had to play it off and be very impressed and try to sell him an ESP. I don't think he bought one, though. He just wanted to talk.
If Kim Jong-un dies, who leads North Korea?
I don't know. I think Ebenezer Scrooge over here. You should go over there and
Yeah.
check it out. Lee, are you still playing VR games? I am. Not as much as I was. I've still got it all set up and everything. I got like the greatest space ever to play VR games right there.
You have the whole studio space.
I know.
You've marked it out to where you just, if I had to do a photo shoot or something, and I couldn't because you're there walking around like a zombie.
Yeah, so I'm playing back through Half-Life Alyx, you know, maybe like 15 minutes at a time, just really slow and casually. But I've got some other games that I need to play.
Dude, we're at 743 people now. It just keeps slowly going up.
It keeps going up. Fstoppers is the best news-only channel on YouTube. Spread the word. Thank you. I think that guy has written that like 100 times. Thank you. Now, this says there is a 4K option. It might be a 4K option, but
It's going to be
trust me,
so
guys.
compressed if
Yeah.
it has to try to upload this from...
Any other questions, guys? It's your last chance. If you want to get in those Fstoppers Club 33.
Otherwise, you're going to
Super
have to
chats.
wait a whole day to ask that burning question.
Somebody wrote, Luca tipped $100. I'm not falling for that. It's not highlighted.
Is there a way to see how much has been generated?
I think maybe we can see statistics and stuff on the laptop over there, but I don't think we can see it from our phone. Does YouTube take any money from Super Chat? Yes, I believe they take either 30 or 40%. I literally just learned about Super Chat yesterday, so I don't know much about it, but I had to sign up for it and like pretend to read something and click I agree. So who knows? Lee in Prison Hobo tonight, the hottest new late night show. I agree.
Somebody wrote, where did the comment go? I already lost it. It's like basically, why am I watching my iPhone, watching guys watching their iPhones?
I know. I don't.
And this is a solution I want. I want to figure out, like, can we put huge, they got to be big TVs, because, like, I can't read that far away.
I mean,
but
a
if we could have big
projector could work.
screens, if we got, but then you got to put the projector back here somehow.
Yeah.
And it might mess up our lighting. But if you could have it right there to where I could just, like, look straight ahead.
But you're not looking towards the camera. You would need the screen to be behind.
I know, but then at least we don't look like we're just on our phones. If we could put our phone down and just, you know, when you're talking, you're looking up and maybe you're looking at me.
That's
and
a
then
good point.
I change.
All right. Let's just go a couple more questions and then get out of
Do
here.
they have goggles now where you just put, like, can your VR just show this? We could wear the VR goggles and you don't even...
That would work, but that might be worse than the current situation of looking at our phones.
They want to know what beer you're drinking. You're drinking like
Lee,
a
that means
Hefeweizen.
one more hour. Yeah, it sounds like you were in the last live chat. It's addicting to just read this, and I'm like, what else do I have to do? I'm just gonna go to bed. So it's kind of
So
fun.
this is a Hefeweizen. Well, it's
Did you not buy this?
no, but
Oh, I
this
don't know
is
where that
something
came
I
from.
would drink. Like I like.
It was in the fridge, so I don't know where it came from. One of our parties, people must have brought it over.
Weizenstoffner, Bavarian beer, the world's oldest brewery.
Do I? Oh, I just missed it. Somebody was asking how I shave my head. This is actually, I feel very strongly about this because I've tried a lot of different things. I used to do like the buzzer, you know, and then I went to the razor. And the razor, you have to do it relatively often or it gets too long. But then I was getting like ingrown hairs and it was awful. I found this head shaver thing on Amazon. And if you type in head shaver, it'll probably be the #1 thing that comes up. It's got 5 little like round heads on it and it's concave so it fits your head. And this thing's like $50 and it works better than anything I've ever used before. It's glorious. I'm actually getting to the point now, you know, when I had to shave my head at first I was distraught. Like, oh my gosh, I'm an ugly troll. But now I'm like, oh, it's just so easy. I just shave it with this thing in the shower every 2 or 3 days and I never have to worry about it. I guess the only thing I have to worry about is sunburn. But other than that, I'm going with it. I'm going for it.
Somebody asked us here, have we ever tried astrophotography? And if so, do you have a tutorial? So we've done some astrophotography tutorials. We have some on our YouTube channel. We did some very basic stuff with Elia Liccardi. But recently, I did a photo shoot out on a beach out here. And all of these lights were on the beach that cast a red glow. And somebody said, you know, you can buy a filter that will filter out all city lights for your astrophotography. And I thought, what? That can't be real. So I start looking into it. They gave me a very specific product. I look into it, and there are these filters that will pop into, it pops in like inside the mirror. Like the mirror pops up, and you put it next to the sensor.
Okay.
And it kills like 99% of all light, but it destroys all light within the frequencies that are here on Earth.
I've seen this.
And so I emailed the company that makes this, and I said, we got to get one of these. I've never seen a tutorial on this. I mean, now I've seen a lot of them online, but he directs me to a couple resources, and I realize, like, maybe what people mean when they say astrophotography is real astrophotography. Not like stars within your landscape, but telephoto shots of, like, galaxies and stuff.
So maybe you put the camera on an electronic gimbal that's like moving with the planet.
Yes, and you have to remove the like the IR filters and stuff off your camera.
Wow.
And then you put this filter in, and then you have to take like, it might be like some of these images, they're composites. It's like 1,000 images taken over the course of 7 hours. And because they're barely able to get any sense of light. So while the motor tracks whatever you're shooting, it's getting all these pictures that look horrible, and then through processing, you remove all the, I mean, it's like the most complicated and expensive thing
This sounds
ever.
like your absolute nightmare to make a video like this.
But then I'm looking at the pictures in the galleries, and I'm like, these look horrible.
Oh no!
It's like, that is cool that you shot some nebula,
Yeah.
but it's not like what you would think you're going to see from NASA. It's like not a good version, but it took 8 hours to produce.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking there's got to be some middle ground where, like, you're not trying to shoot a nebula, but maybe you could shoot some kind of, I mean, you can't just shoot the sky either. It's got to have something of interest in it, but there's a whole nother level to astrophotography that I wasn't really aware of. It's called a sky tracker, yes. If even one person dies, a 20-year quarantine is totally worth it.
Absolutely. As a bald guy, listening to Lee's head shaving thing. Ooh, yeah. Bald people. Go to Amazon and type in head shaver. I can't believe it took me so long to find that product. Joe Schmo says, I am beautiful. Thank you, Joe Schmo. Post an affiliate link for a head shaver. You can find it. Just go to head shaver. It's going to be the first one that comes up. Like I said, it's got like 5 round things on it. It's very, very easy to figure out. Lee, you look better with a shaved head. Saw some of your old videos with hair, and this is cooler. Coming from a bald guy, that is meaningless, but thank you.
If you want to see Lee's best hair video, do you know your best hair video?
The one where I was reviewing like a gimbal or something, Like I had this like semi comb over going on,
Oh man. It's
and
so
the
good.
wind while I was reviewing this thing was like bloop, bloop. And I think maybe I had shaved my head after that. So by the time that video came out, I had already shaved my head. Maybe I don't remember, but I don't know. I think we edited that part out of the video.
Did we?
I didn't let that go live. That was so outrageous.
I think it was an iPhone gimbal. I'm trying to find it because you should watch it.
Guys, streaming tutorial, please. What does that mean? Oh, like how we're actually streaming? Yeah, I will do that.
Or it means they want all of our tutorials in the store to be streamed.
Streamed for free. I don't think that's what they mean. I'm going to wait and do a more complicated streaming video once I get this product from Blackmagic, because I'll show like the simple setup that we've got here, and then I'll show the more complex Blackmagic setup. But the Blackmagic thing, it's only like $400 for the one that's currently available, and I think you can get it right now on B&H. We're getting the Pro one that can do up to 6K, and I think that one might be like $600 or $700. It's still incredibly affordable for what it is. I mean, 10 years ago, something like that would cost $100 grand. So anyone can do it. Did Elia ever get back to us? No, he didn't get back to us. Somebody send Elia a message. And
Yeah,
ask.
if you want Elia to be on this program, you need to bombard his email.
Yeah.
Go to, is it blamethemonkey.com?
Don't give out his email.
I'm not going to give out his email, but Blame the Monkey's website.
Get him on like Facebook and Twitter and be like, why are you disrespecting Lee and the Auschwitz? What do they say you are? Auschwitz gnome?
Yeah, I'm a gnome.
Yeah, quit disrespecting us. I don't know what he's doing.
I bought that Louis C.K. Comedy special.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I like Louis C.K. a lot. He's one of my favorite comedians. But he does a whole thing where he goes to a concentration camp in like Poland, and he's just like, he goes really dark.
Of course.
And he's just like, would they have ever believed that you would actually be paying money to enter, to like see this place? I feel like it gets better towards the end. The first beginning of it's like not all that great.
I need to see that. Lee, can you carry Patrick around like a baby before you go?
Let's not do that. We got to keep social distancing here.
That's true. It's a mandate.
What are our Twitter handles? I just use the Fstoppers, and I think it's official.
Yeah, I don't.
Official
I don't even know
Fstoppers.
our login for that, so I will never read it. But Patrick might. My wife loves Lee from the day we met him at the million-person march in San Juan. It's that bald head. I met you there? I don't remember meeting people. Oh, yeah, I do remember meeting somebody there. Okay. Hey, good to see you again,
That's
buddy.
them. You've climbed on the, weren't you on top of the container? One of the container
Yeah, I
trucks
wasn't
or-
really talking to people up there, though. My favorite is Lee's Nikon DF video because I almost bought that camera. That camera died.
They never made a DF2, did they?
I don't think they did. And I like to think that I'm somewhat responsible for that. Like, I don't want Nikon to fail. And I said in the video, I'm totally fine with them making cameras that look different. I think most cameras look kind of boring, and I don't think their ergonomics are that great. So sure, make it look retro. I don't care.
Yeah.
But that camera in particular, I thought was kind of silly, the way they removed features and stuff. And so
I thought of an idea the other day that I guess I could ask you guys what you think about this. But I thought, what if we sit down maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks or some period of time, and you and I like queue up an old Fstoppers video, and we just kind of like reminisce and talk about, like that one's a good one because you dress like the hipster and we go out and interview all the people and you have the moped going over the bridge.
I almost died that day.
And I'm like shooting out of the back of a moving car. Like there are so many little things. It'd be like pop-up video or something, or like a commentary, when directors do a commentary. And it's now, some of these videos are pretty old, that it would be very interesting, I think, to revisit them. Because many people may not even know these videos if they've only found our channel in the last couple of years.
Yeah, that video never got the views it deserved. It got a few 100,000 views, I think, but like, we put a lot of work into that. I thought it was
But what I'm
pretty
saying
funny.
is we can find maybe our personal top favorite 10 or 15 videos, and over the course of a year, we just like review them, you know?
Yeah, that would be really funny.
This is like the Bon Jovi one, has like 60,000 views. That was made the first year we started Fstoppers. I think very few people ever saw it. But that was one of the coolest experiences, especially having just started the channel. Like, we had such crazy access so early on. And so there's videos like that where, you know, revisiting the shoot where you gave your dad a car, which is quickly becoming, it's very soon to be the top video on our channel.
Yeah.
It's about to beat the Taser photo shoot. It would just be fun to like revisit that and like see how funny you looked and young you look, and what your dad's done with the car and the stories that have like.
That's so easy to do with this live format though. If we can get like the system in place and we build a set that works with the board and everything, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, and we could just play the video and then pause it and then make a comment about it and then like get back to it. And then we just have to say when it's over, it's over. We're not going to make it an hour-long video.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just like a 20-minute video. And it's like we just go back and review some of the old content we made. It seemed interesting. This idea came up, and I was like, what could we do?
I wonder if, I mean, could this be the direction that YouTube is going? Like, if people prefer live content, like I can see why it'd be kind of thrilling. Like, you can write crazy stuff, and I'm reading it back to you, and we're laughing at the jokes about Patrick. So I can see why that'd be a little bit more fun than watching some pre-produced video. It's certainly easier from our perspective. We can create far more content like this.
We just have to have the hardware to do it and to be able to set things up and cue them and play them back.
But that's my point, is the hardware is just so affordable now. YouTubers, you couldn't have done it a few years ago. You had to be like NBC News to have the boards and everything. But now these little boards are this big and they connect to a laptop. And so, I don't know, I'm excited about this. Somebody says, Lee, has anyone mistaken you for Bill Maher? What does that mean? Like Bill Maher, the guy with the big nose and lots of hair on HBO?
Yeah, I don't know.
No one's mistaken.
If anything, Bill Maher, he looks like the old. Who's the old comic that's on Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah, I don't know who that guy is.
Richard. They look very similar.
All right, I think we need to close this down.
Yeah, our significant others are probably like, where in the world
You think they're
are they?
watching this right now?
Well, Kristen said she was.
She got bored and left a long time ago.
She knows that people are asking for her to be on the show.
Uh-huh.
She also knows I'm talking about the wedding.
Uh-huh.
She didn't like it when I talk about the wedding. 'Cause she thinks like I'm being negative about it or something.
Right,
I'm the most positive person ever. I'm like, let's just wait.
Yeah,
Let's
it'll probably be fine. If we have to make change of plans, we're gonna make change of plans, but it's gonna be an awesome wedding no matter what. Yeah. IV says, thank you, thank for all you do. You rock. Rock hands. Thank you very much.
Somebody asked what our internet speed is here. So I will do it off my phone just to know. It's actually pretty good for what.
It's better than anything we had in the States.
Do you know how much we pay for internet here?
I think it might be $90 a month or something. I don't remember.
Okay, and that doesn't come with it, like TV or anything, does it?
I don't even know. Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I don't know. I don't even know how to get TV to work anymore.
So I'm getting 244 down, but only 22 up.
Yeah, and the upload is the problem. Like, that's what we need to be able to do stuff like this.
I wonder what kind of upload speed you would need to be able to do 4K at a reasonable bit rate.
I don't know.
But I think in Charleston, like, I mean, that's on my cell phone, 244. I think in Charleston, hardwired, weren't we getting business class Comcast was like 150 down? And it's hard to know what that cost. Maybe that was $75 a month, but it's always bundled. My Comcast bill was getting to be like $200 a month for HD and the DVR and HBO, and then I wanted the business class internet and stuff, and I was like, this is outrageous, $200 a month. I want to get rid of all of it, but if I wanted the business class internet, which is the one thing we use quite a bit, we were uploading weddings and we were uploading YouTube videos and like doing all the storage stuff. It was like, you're still going to spend $120 on the internet, so why not just spend $70 more and get the cable stuff too, you know? But to think we have 244 down on a cell phone connected to the hotspot, like that's pretty good.
Somebody's saying, please don't stop. Please don't stop. Keep live streaming.
Richard Lewis, yes.
You guys can't be this bored. This video might have been decent an hour ago. It's not decent anymore. Now we're just reading things on our phones.
No, the wedding's not in Puerto Rico.
What time is it there? We're on the East Coast.
Yingling. I always like Yingling.
You know, maybe what we should do, Patrick, we need to see the response of people to this video tomorrow. And we can't make I don't know how long we've been going, but we can't do 2-hour-long videos. We do have to set a time. And
we should do like the, when you took the antibody test, we should just have like a timer. And when it goes off, it's like we have 5 minutes after the time it goes off, and it's like it's a closer.
Yeah.
We wrap up any story we're in, and we're done.
But if people really like this who aren't watching live, I understand it's more fun to watch it live because everybody's talking trash in the chat or whatever. But if other people like it, we could just set a certain time every day, and people could just come on and like we'll do it live.
And this is going to be a long time from now, but once people can start traveling again, can you imagine? We have 4 other mic positions in this board. We could have Pi over there. We could have any number of people. Peter Hurley has to get down here, and we could just have a show where we just drink beers and just talk about crazy stuff.
I know.
It'd be so fun.
I know. I think we're on to something here.
Possibilities are endless.
And you tried to stop me from doing this.
I didn't try to stop you. I just didn't, I never know. We have 2 different offices, and I just came down here, and I was like, what have you been doing? And you're like mantically plugging all this stuff in. You're like, I think I got it to work. It's like when you come in, like all the car parts are there, and it's like, I think I figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what have you been working on down here? You're like, I think I got live streaming going. And I was like, why would we, what are we going to do with that? Now I see.
Now you see. All right, on that note, we're done. I can't read anymore. If I read anymore, I'm just going to keep talking.
See you guys tomorrow. Do we want to have like a time where people can prepare? I mean, it's probably going to be around 7 or 8 o'clock. That's probably the best time to do it. We can't go till 10:30 again. This is crazy.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. We'll come up with something.
Hey, hit that little bell and smash that like button. Does that have the same thing on here?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
We have a lot to learn.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone. How do I stop it? Right here.
I'm going back to my jail cell.